Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 12. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are in game number one picks and bans of your match for this evening. Shifting Sands Gaming going up against Mythic Fallen. Now, we've seen Shifting Sands Gaming quite a lot over the past couple of weeks, and now we get to take a look at how they fare against one of Style Esports' long-standing orgs, Mythic Gaming, coming at us one more time with another team. They're ready to go. We got picks, we got bans out of the way. Picks are starting up, and it's already looking pretty spicy. Thousand, are you ready?
I am ready as we are seeing Shifting Sands gone through every single jungler known to man, but we do take a look at the bans so far. Pretty much everything about what we would expect. Sivir being banned by Shifting Sands is interesting, considering that they would have the opportunity to pick that up and take that away. I think Sivir is very much first pick worthy, and so I'm a little surprised to see it actually being banned on the blue side and not forcing Mythic to ban that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is already looking like some pretty big bans to be taken off the table as well. We have Ashen Chevalier. Doesn't they? Of course, Mythic does not want Ashen Chevalier on that one trick on that Viego. Gonna take that off the board, but they're looking for the Volley Bear that they've been trying out a whole lot in solo queue as well. So some pretty good bans to take off the board right here immediately. And then Sivir and Olaf, two very, very powerful picks, especially the Sivir recently. We saw how powerful Sivir can be a couple nights ago when piloted.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very powerful champion. I don't think you want to let that go through, but
yeah. Shinkari, I'm going to tell you, you weren't
Yeah.
here yesterday. That didn't change.
Oh,
That
really?
was very much staying the same. Sivir was very powerful. Although now we finally see the Senna pick up here as we see Kayn and Yuumi by Mythic Fallen. And then the Talia lock-in here. I'm surprised to see the Senna without a Tom Kench alongside it. I feel like Talia is not one that you are going to see a lot of people picking. And you can see that just go through to the second part of the draft. Seeing Senna without the Tom Kench pick is really weird.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, going into the second phase of drafts here is going to be really interesting because now Mythic Fallen have the chance to take that Tom Kench away from the Senna here, kind of forcing the Senna to maybe go into more of an actual support role, have this go over to Alpaca Bowl or two, and then picking another 80 carry on top of that. Maybe we'll see the comeback of Ash. Who knows?
It is entirely possible. We will see. That is actually a Heimerdinger lock-in.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Someone get Ewok on the phone. So where's Ewok?
Yeah, honestly.
Ewok, where are you?
Please, Ewok, we miss you.
I miss
come
you
back.
too. Ewok, if you're watching this, we do miss you. Please come back.
Very genuinely. But also, we need information about Heimerdinger because I don't know what the hell Heimerdinger does anymore. I want to go out on a limb and say this is actually a bot lane Heimerdinger with the Yuumi. I can absolutely see that being the case because he just will kite out like crazy and be very annoying with that. Okay, or you get the Ziggs as well. But either of those would work in the bot lane. But regardless, taking away that Tom Kench as expected here, we'll see what Shifting Sands want to actually go with to pair with the Senna now, because now things are a little bit funky. Yasuo being locked in, this is still flexible, so we're not going to know if that is a mid lane or a bot lane Yasuo just yet. That could go either or. Shifting Sands does need to lock in what they're going to take here. That does mean that it is going to be a Talia bot lane.
I mean, I don't think it would put
so many different ways this could work.
Okay, so here's my called shot here. I think that's Yasuo to pair with the Senna. I think that's a Yasuo to pair with the Senna. You're not exactly happy because, like, you don't have a bot lane that can, like, enable your knockups. But at the end of the day, like, if you're going up against a Ziggs and a Yuumi or a Heimerdinger and a Yuumi, right? Like, this could be like a lane that Yasuo excels in, right? Like, if you're going to go up against two ranged champions that are unorthodox in the bot lane, then throw him up against Yasuo. Give Yasuo a good matchup and give Senna the ability to really harass them. Like this is a lane that is very annoying to deal with. How do you like Senna is able to poke you from pretty long range, is able to keep Yasuo pretty healthy. As long as he goes in and she's within range, she can angle her Q so that she's healing Yasuo and dealing damage to the targets beyond him. Right? This is a pretty good way to counter this kind of unorthodox bot lane, this kind of curveball that Mythic Fallen have thrown at Shifting Sands in this kind of early game here, because that Jax is going into the top lane. That like there was an argument that Heimerdinger could be going into the top lane against the Gnar here, right? But now we have a situation where it could be either Ziggs or Heimerdinger with Yuumi in the bot lane.
Yeah, I want to put my money on the Heimerdinger. We will see as we do get into the champ select here. Yeah, I think, yeah, you're probably right. It is most likely the Yasuo bot lane. However, I've seen Talia bot lane paired with Senna before. I also, there's the small possibility you put Volibear bot lane and have Yasuo mid lane jungle. There's a multitude of ways that you could mix up this combination of champs to make a composition, which is what makes it so very interesting. The only thing that you really see on the opposite side is the fact that Heimer and Ziggs can swap sides in the mid and bot lane respectively. So it does mean that Mythic Fallen so far have basically put together we split push or we siege composition. Right? Heimerdinger and Ziggs are so good at sieging. Jax will split push like mad and be a nuisance through the entire game. And Kayn, especially if he's going the red form, will be able to just be a bruiser in the middle of that fight as the game goes on. Shifting Sands, on the other hand, they're looking to scale. They're looking to team fight come late game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is another this is a very good instance of Yuumi being on your team, right? Because I think Yuumi fills kind of the same role as a Lulu, right? Where Lulu, in combination with Wild Growth, turns a champion that is building kind of half tank, kind of like, you know, half like a little bit of resistances here, but mostly damage, a little bit of health there paired with some damage, right? But never fully full tank items, right? So when you have a Kayn, when you have a Jax, right, even if it's red Kayn, even if you're going Rost, you're still kind of building bruiser items. You're not going full tank, right? So by having this Yuumi here, you're gaining the ability to basically have an additional health bar because of how often Yuumi is able to heal you and how much she heals, right? So by this kind of like this playstyle of Enchanter turns your half tanks into full tanks because it is very hard to kill them. And Kayn and Jax have the ability with their abilities as well. Had a bit of a hiccup there.
Who broke it?
I just want to know who broke it.
Yeah. we saw a question mark and then he's human.
Wonderful.
So, not sure. We are
a little confused.
I guess. Yeah, they picked Renata Glask by accident.
Oops.
Instead of the Senna.
Oops.
It's weird.
Yeah, weird.
But, or I guess the Yasuo. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'll be curious. The thing though is, and I know that it is not as strong as it once was, but heel cut still exists. Red Kayn, Yuumi are both champs that get super gutted when the enemy team is building out that heel cut and keeping them down on that. So I don't know how likely it is. I'm really going to be watching this top lane. I think that makes a huge difference about whether Mythic Fallen can make this composition work or not, because you've got Jax who can pressure. If Jax can pressure, this 4-man siege is a problem to be dealt with. If Jax can't 1v1 in the top side, if he can't pull people his way and go for that split push, your siege means nothing because you just all in them and you win.
Right. I mean, I feel like the inverse is also correct, right? Like if Heimerdinger and Ziggs become very powerful, then you have to throw more people in front of that siege that they're going to have to be doing, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be like it's going to be such a hard time defending against all those people that sometimes you might just want that numbers advantage so that you can actually pressure them if they continue to siege, which gives Jax more of an opportunity to split push up in that top lane.
Yeah, there Jax will obviously scale super hard regardless. He is just incredibly good at doing so. And then the other kind of problem that you run into is Volibear is a very early game focused jungler. He does not scale terribly well. He is a vehicle to get the Talia, the Yasuo, the Senna into that late game area. He's not the one who's going to actually be providing much, and he's going to very quickly get outscaled by this Kane no matter what form he would go. So
Mm-hmm.
Ashen Chevalier needs to make something happen early and pressure the map before the Jax can get going, before the siege can get set up. I think Shifting Sands, they have a solid late game, but it does need to start off on the right foot, because when you fall behind with a composition that has a bunch of kind of melee team fighty champs, you continue to fall behind if you don't
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah, I mean, when you are playing a lot of short range and needing this kind of hard initiation, and you need to be the ones proactive, if you are not able to kind of survive that initial bit of bout of damage from that initiation, you're going to go down really, really quickly. Right? There's going to be a
Mhm.
real tough time if you don't get that gold into your pocket early, which um which we it should be able to survive that damage. If you can't, you're going to go down, then your initiation is going to be dead, and then the rest of your team has to now retreat because you're a man down.
Yeah, Shifting Sands looking very skirmish heavy, very much like they want to kind of just get in, look for flanks. I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
Mhm.
Getting the Talia ultimate to show up at weird spots, letting Yasuo get that ultimate so that he can get into the fight onto that Heimerdinger and Ziggs. That's going to be the biggest thing. Can they actually get in on this fight, or will the long range siege and kite from Mythic Fallen become too much for them to handle?
Yeah, we're going to take just a quick break though. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 1 of Shifting Sands Gaming up against Mythic Fallen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 12. My name is Shinkari, and I'm joined by Thousand Eyes. Here we are on the Rift of game number 1 of Shifting Sands Gaming, who is on the blue side, up against Mythic Fallen, who are on the red side. We got ourselves an invade for this first level 1 here. Let's see how it goes out. Thousand, are you ready?
I am ready as we are going to invade. I think it's just going to be a trade of vision, but hey, Heimerdinger turrets, those suck.
Yep.
God,
Yes,
I
they
hate
do.
Heimerdinger.
Yeah. Oh, 12 IQ might actually. That's actually a decent chunk of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got what they came for, honestly. So, no harm, no foul, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you take that, it would have been fine to just trade a little bit and get the Yumi heals as well. So we will see the back from the Volibear, which actually might end up, I'm thinking he's going to be fine getting there. Cutting it a little
Yeah,
close, but yeah, look at Nar right now. This man is no fear, no value on his life at all.
Yeah, I mean, his level 1 has got to be better than Jax, right? Jax definitely did not start spin.
No, he always starts spin.
Does he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he always starts Counter Strike.
Okay.
It's very good at trading level 1 because you just walk up and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
he walks
I
up,
guess that's fair.
walks up and he smashes you.
Yep. Alrighty, now we get to see how this bot lane plays out, because once again, this Zig's a little bit more orthodox than we were expecting, right? There were we did discuss like Heimerdinger bot lane could be a possibility, but this is a little bit more orthodox than what we've seen, right? We've seen Ziggs in the bot lane before, but now they're up against a Yasuo who, traditionally melee versus ranged is a ranged favored matchup, but once this hits level 2, like this is going to be a Yasuo favored matchup once he starts getting those wind walls.
The biggest thing that you're looking for there is just the shove it into the tower and make it really hard for the Yasuo to farm. If you can continue to do that, you will be okay. Mana management will be important, as Ziggs will require mana to shove the wave compared to a lot of other AD carries that would be in that bot lane. So getting pushed off of the wave like this is actually really bad, because Cimarron really wants to keep on there and keep the bombs up. That's not happening right now, though.
Yeah, luckily Alpaca Bowler 2 playing really, really aggressive on this Senna, and that's kind of exactly what you have to do here, especially against an Enchanter lane. They don't have good early levels, right? Like, Yuumi is safe, right? Let's not take that out of there, right? Like, this Yuumi is still very, very healthy, but has to detach every now and then in order to get some mana back, right? Yeah. So Alpaca Bowler 2 here, doing a great job of being aggressive, but now they might get punished for it. Here comes Zpico in from the line, the jungle here, going to be able to get first blood after a real good time. Let's see if they are able to get some more. Not going to be able to grab it this time, but first blood is going to go over to Mythic Fallen here.
Yeah, Zpico going through the wall there. Shinkari unable to trip over his own words good enough to get that out. But Zpico does actually pick up that first kill. And we'll see, it is Conqueror right now on that Kayn, which does generally indicate the red form. There are, Conqueror, Gore Drinker, and then you just go lethality from that if you're going to go for the assassin build. There is that possibility. But generally, I would expect we're looking for a red Kayn, ideally. But damn, the bot lane falling apart a little bit early on, not the greatest.
Yeah, just call us the Super Smash Brothers Brawl cast tonight, because we're doing nothing but tripping. Tripping over our words. That's what's going on.
Look, I don't get paid enough to know the words I'm saying.
Please leave Skydancer out of this. They work so hard.
That's fair.
Shout outs to Skydancer, the real hero, the real hero of
the real hero, not NT.
Yeah,
screw NT. Honestly,
look, we gave NT the shout out every single time we talk about the bot.
Yeah, which is usually in a negative sense.
NT works so hard on this bot, and here
I feel so bad because it is actually really cool. But man, if I do not get so frustrated when it does not work right.
Yeah. But shout outs to both NT and Skydancer.
Shout outs, honestly.
Shout outs, honestly. really, it's just great being able to just be like, hey, look at all this cool stuff that people do that we get to, you know, when people are here listening to us talk, that we just, you know, get to yell about it. It's fun.
We've been live for less than 30 minutes, and we're already unable to have a conversation about the video game.
Okay, I mean, like, what else is there to? Oh, look, Heimerdinger turrets in the mid lane. Wow, great. Oh, they got the Earthdrake. Okay, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's up? What else is going on in the game that you want to talk about?
I mean, I did want to talk a little bit about the fact that Mockingbird blew through mana and did have to back and then TP back into the lane. So that is a possible gank point that could come in, as Mockingbird does not have that teleport to then reset off of taking some damage.
I mean, it is also a little annoying for the Talia, because she did, like you said, backed and then teleported back in, and already she's at half mana, right? Like, she's already down to half mana here, and she needs to be able to throw out those spells if she wants to safely engage with those Heimerdinger turrets, right? Like, she even bought, like, a tier and a refillable pot. So this is, like, more and more time that she has to spend, like, trying to get that mana back, like, making sure she's still staying up with resources. Because Dingle Dangle doesn't really get to spend that much mana. He just puts down a turret and then just kind of waits. Sometimes he throws out another spell. You know, he gets to, the way he manages his resources is just a lot easier.
Yeah, it will take a little bit, but she will eventually get going. She is generally a bit of a later scaler as well as Heimerdinger, but Heimerdinger has a weird scaling. He's like really annoying early. His mid game requires him to get a little bit more damage to really be a threat, and then he becomes really annoying again.
Yeah. And then late game you're building just a bunch of utility and just weird items that no one else builds. Rylai's Crystal Scepter. No one builds that item anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Dingle Dangle loves it.
Definitely does. God, it's confuses the hell out of me when you say Dingle Dangle.
What?
Like,
Does no one say Dingle Dangle? I need a vote.
No.
I need a poll in the chat. Who says Dingle Dangle?
No one calls Heimerdinger Dingle Dangle.
There are definitely people out there who call it Dingle Dangle. Alpaca Bowler 2 is taking a whole bunch of damage here. Stoddy throws out a great wind wall. Gonna get a little bit of damage back and forth.
Oh my goodness, yeah, not too bad. As long as you don't die on the Senna, you will be able to back away, just heal back up, as Frost has had a lot of time. One of the things that is interesting with Yuumi in this lane is because of the fact that Yasuo is melee, you have a lot of opportunities to use that passive. In other lanes, it's a little scarier. If you play that, like, most of the time when there's a melee champion in that lane, they are a champion that will jump on you and then beat the crap out of you. This time around, Yasuo not able to get any kind of crowd control immediately, so Yuumi can just pop off and actually just get the passive.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty quick here. I'm loving this play from Yuumi here, just giving Simmerald, like Silmarillion and Emerald, Simmerald.
Yeah.
Just giving them being able to give them enough space to kind of like evade Yasuo. Like, most of the time it's very hard to kite him because of how much mobility he has. But whoa, that's a great initiation right there, forcing out the exhaust as well. Simmerald is taking incredibly low here, and that's going to be exhaust taking it down. Alpaca Bowler 2 is going to be the one picking up the bull here. Stoddy looking for a little bit more, dashes forward, but picks up Z Pico here. They're still looking to fight here. They still want this. That's going to be the Senna ultimate coming across here, but that's going to be the ult from God, I already forgot his name. From Z Pico in response there. There's going to be able to find the return kill there. 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Still puts a kill onto Senna. Puts a kill onto... why do I keep forgetting his name? Tell me his name. What is the champion's name? Z Pico. What is the champion's name?
Kane.
I keep wanting to say Pike for some reason.
Because he's edgy and has a sharp object. I don't know.
Yeah, he's an assassin with a sharp object.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless. But, I mean, really, so Simmerald does kind of get caught out there, and it's a really good look by Statty. Trying to go back in on that fight then was ill-advised, obviously. Z-Pico was able to come around, and while it is a pre-evolved Kayn, there was enough damage there and enough healing from the Yuumi to be able to turn that around. In that entire fight, Alpaca Bowler 2 was fairly low, did not feel safe enough to walk back up and really provide a whole lot. So Z-Pico could get back in on that fight and get that second kill now, as this is a very quickly scaling Kayn.
Yeah, I mean they're already on to a Gore Drinker here after 2 kills. Like this bot lane has been a very good job of feeding Kane in some of these items here. So 71 CS, 2 kills, a mythic, the first mythic item completed on the map. Like this is looking really good if you're looking to get in there. Is a 12 IQ doing actually a really great damage. Gnar into the wall here. Solitaire looking for a little bit more. Going to be able to scare the Gnar off of this fight here. So it's going to be a wash up in the top lane, but a whole bunch of ultimates were spent.
Yeah, I mean, Jax and Gnarl both fairly low statty. Gonna get rooted.
Yeah, gonna be taken pretty low
my
here too. That's gonna be the
God.
Kane ultimate coming across, and Z Pico is gonna be able to pick up the big kill there. But now it's gonna be even harder to contest this straight because the mega turret from Heimerdinger is gonna give them a harder time to approach here. But Ashen Chevalier still looking for the steal here around the corner. They've taken a decent chunk of damage from the dragon. They're peeling off here. Jax has made his way down. He's here. Solitaire is here.
Showed up.
Yeah. Okay, gonna throw out the Talia wall here. Gonna force them to section them off, but are they gonna do anything with it? We popped the Rift Herald in the bot lane here, and now here comes Ashen Chevalier. They're hanging around. Okay, good ultimate here by the Yasuo here, taking them incredibly low, but no one has fallen just quite yet. They've lost the Drake, but can they make up for it in kills? Flashing over the wall, Ashen Chevalier is going to be able to find the stun, going to be able to find one. Mythic Frost is now the next target. Goes on to Solitaire here, going to be able to get away. No one's going to be able to follow through on that one either. So they're going to be able to pick up a kill for themselves and drop Shelly in the bot lane, who does get interrupted by the Heimerdinger. So they lose the dragon, but pick up a kill for themselves, evening out the gold a bit.
Yeah, so they do end up losing out on that dragon after a good start to that fight. And then finally, we see SSG able to just hold off on that dragon, keep them away from it as long as possible, which gave enough time for Statty to come back after the death and show up just as the dragon got taken for that last breath. A really nice look there from Statty to get in on that, and they do confirm a kill. They still do lose out on the dragon, and that does mean that they are going to be running a little bit behind in terms of trying to get that soul here. The other thing I did want to point out is this is the first time we actually have seen Ashen Chevalier do much of anything. It did pick up a kill, but I don't think that's exactly what you want to see from the Volibear. It's the level 6-7 point. You want to see dives happen. You want to see the Volibear dive under this Heimerdinger, force him so far back and away from his turrets that he is just completely unsafe. Dive this Ziggs. He does not have a lot of peel for himself, and he's going to get obliterated if you can turn off the tower. I want to see the aggression from Ashen Chevalier that we have seen in the past.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. You put the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head here. This is the point where we need Volibear to kind of be more aggressive, but we've seen him mostly going for full clears and going for neutral objectives, right? I don't want to say that Ashen Chevalier hasn't been doing anything. I think that's more of directed camera's fault because we didn't see them take the Rift Herald up in the top lane, and the last time we saw them on screen was they were grabbing Drake, right? Like they grabbed that very early Drake, that early Mountain Dragon. So, it's not like they haven't been anywhere. It's just mostly because direct to camera doesn't really like Rift Herald for some reason. Question mark? Not quite sure, but I do like this play from the blue side here from Shifting Sands, taking advantage of them not being a support down the bot lane as Mockingbird taking some trouble here. ZPGO gonna go inside, gonna pop back out, gonna pick up the kill for themselves. Mockingbird goes down, and another kill goes over to Kane.
Yeah, that was a nice gank, and still no pulling of the triggered Simmerald trying to get away. Look at how far back he's trying to get.
Oh, yeah, this is a great combination of CC. It's just a 1-2 punch right there. Gonna be able to pick up the kill on Simmerald here and only have to spend that last breath in order to do so. I think they're just waiting on the next wave in order to pick up. Yeah, Senna, there's so many orbs over there. Oh, gosh. CPico here. Looking to contest. Can they 2v3 here? CPico gets rooted up. See if they're looking for a little bit more. Okay, they're going to grab the ultimate. That's going to be the Yumi ultimate coming across. It's going to be blocked by the wind wall here. They're just going to keep moving out of there.
Not the end of the world. Heimer would love to have that, but we do have the Leandries already. The mana regen is already starting to come in. So it is just mostly about the experience and the gold at the end of the day. So you see Cheesy Sammy is doing pretty solidly in this mid lane, thanks to a bit of help from the Kayn. Has farmed up a 30 farm lead, which is not insignificant, and will be continuing to push down that tower with plates down. One kill could be the start of a gold plummet for your team and a gold gain for the enemy team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this game has still been relatively quiet. I mean, in comparison to some of the games that we saw yesterday, where there was so much early fighting, a lot of the fighting that we've been seeing is mostly around objectives. Being very kind of quiet as well. Like the bot lane hasn't been dueling a whole lot. Like just like scuffles back and forth to try to get the others out of lane at most, right? Like that's where we see the most amount of kills and deaths, if at all, right? Like the 3 kills, three out of the 4 deaths from 3 out of the 4 kills that Mythic had picked up are in the bot lane here. And so this is where we've seen the most amount of action, but even in comparison to some of the other games that we've seen this week, this is still relatively quiet as Pico showing up once again to the bot lane here. Going to be able to get the knock up on Stati here. Has to keep going. Is real low HP, has nowhere to go. Simmerald is going to be the one picking up the kill here as Alpaca Bowler 2 going to be able to get away, but that's another kill onto Pico here. Mockingbird showing up into the bot lane to try to help out. Ash and Chevalier shoving out the mid lane.
Yeah, and I love this combination of Pico alongside Frost as they are just roaming around the map. It's already so difficult to deal with a red form Kayn as his power spike in the mid game is so strong. It's so difficult, and then you add in on top of that Sorry, I'm confused. You add on top of that the Yuumi healing. I'm confused why the Set ult was used, because that doesn't hit Dragon.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not sure if Alpaca Bowl or 2 knows that.
I don't know if they know that Ross stuck around just a little bit longer here. Alpaca Bowler 2 is going to get knocked into the air, finished off. Semerald is going to be the one picking up the kill there. As man, this is starting to look a little tough. Even though this gold is even, it's really hard for this bot lane here to really find a footing.
Yeah, take it down. Alpaca Bowler 2, like a weed in the garden, will fall down there. And now Pico 3-1-3. This is a massive red form Kayn. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is, because we're just now seeing a little bit of heal reduction. I don't think it matters at this point. Yeah, Kayn, red form Kayn, really scary. Solitaire in trouble here.
Yeah, Solitaire is in some trouble, and meanwhile, bot lane Simmerald is in some trouble as well. That's going to be the Yuumi ultimate coming across here. Mockingbird is going to be blocked by the wind wall here. Is Cheesy Sammy pushing up that mid lane, is in the top lane. Solitaire is able to get away finally. Asha Chevalier does have the ultimate available. The wave is pushing. Do they want to dive? Are they going to look for it? Pico way too far away at this point. Looks like they're just going to pick up the turret and back away.
Yeah, just going to be the back away there. So we see top and bot turrets go down in favor of SSG, but they do lose their mid tower in the process. So gold will even out just a little bit here as Cheesy Sammy is able to just control this mid lane. I want to see them play just completely around this Kayn at this point. You already have Yuumi kind of just leaning on Kayn and running with that, seeing, how far you can take that. I want to see Heimerdinger go with it too. I want to see Ziggs go along with it too. I really think a roaming squad at this point with a Kayn that is as far ahead as this Kayn is, you can just get away with just running people down. Pico is going to just not die in fights. And I think it's going to be a little bit of time before we see the damage and the heal reduction Shifting Sands needs in order to really, truly take these 3v3s and 4v4s.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. You mentioned this before that Yuumi and Rost here on the Red Kayn, or Red Kayn rather, is just very, very, very powerful, potent combination. I think the biggest thing for me is that Yuumi with the zoomies there is going to give you actually a lot of movement speed, which is kind of one of the big upsides to taking Blue Kayn, right? Blue Kayn has lots of mobility, has some very good damage on low kind of health targets, on low resistance targets. So by giving yourself giving Rost that extra mobility here, you now have a really good situation to help you roam around the map a whole lot more and be in a lot of places that, if you had taken Blue Kayn, would have been a whole lot easier. And now, Shelly Mean pop mid lane. Gonna grab themselves a turret now one more time. 3 turrets to 2, and this gold is still pretty much even.
Yeah, that I like the push in the mid lane. I like taking out that last outer turret. So now you see all the outer turrets are down for Mythic. They've got to play a little bit more defensively. They've got to put wards in their own jungle, because if they get waves shoved into their side, it's going to go pretty deep and they're not going to be able to safely walk up. We do have Dragon coming up in just a minute 15 here. So this is where these towers going down can be a problem. They've got to be able to get control of the lanes, get vision control down, and then move up for Mythic. Right now, seems like they are conscious of that and trying to make sure they can do that to the best of their ability.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this game has been played so well so far. You know, we're 21 minutes into the game, and in the past couple of games that we've seen, even from Shifting Sands Gaming, around this time there'd be a very clear kind of team in the lead, right? There we'd have a pretty clear, like, okay, this team is up by 3,000-4,000 gold, and they have a kind of a good control of this point of the game. But you know, we haven't really had that kind of gigantic lead just yet, even though Pico has shown up so much in the bot lane, even though, you know, Mockingbird has had like a relatively silent time in the mid lane, right? We haven't even though like Ashen Chevalier has been doing a good job of getting these Rift Heralds, you know, it's been a relatively quiet game, and we haven't seen any sort of big developments on either side here. We've been seeing some champions doing well, but you know, this is a this is just to say this is a very good game from both teams here, and not giving away any sort of giant advantages early on.
The Heimerdinger ult turret being used just for that dragon as they're starting the fight.
Ooh, Semerald almost immediately deleted there by the Talia, and now Ashen Chevalier's in the middle of the team. Solitaire is actually taking pretty low as well. That's going to be the last breath coming down. Mockingbird's going to be the one picking up the kill. Stani's going to find another in this fight here. They're now looking for more. Solitaire's taking incredibly low, trying to heal off the Gnar. They're not going to be able to heal up enough to get them to win that fight. Double kill, 4 for nothing. That is a huge win for Shifting Sands Gaming. They get the dragon to boot.
Yeah, Shifting
wait a minute.
Sands. Yeah.
Mockingbird looking for a little bit more here. Might be able to find Cheesy here. Gets the slow, throws down the turret to body block, but they're still throwing out so much damage. Flashing forward, Stadi's still looking for it. Ashen Chevalier looking for the collapse here. Gonna be able to find the stun. The thunderstorm comes down, but it's not gonna come down soon enough. Stadi puts another kill onto the scoreboard.
Yeah, all in all, that fight just was all about Talia. Mockingbird getting some really nice seismic shoves to open up opportunities. That's why they got the Ziggs. That's why they got the Yasuo ultimate down later in that fight. Both of those seismic shoves, which is a really hard ability to hit, were clean, exactly where they needed to be, and won the fight for Shifting Sands Gaming. Once you saw that Ziggs go down, a huge chunk of the damage went down, and Jax went in, not really tanking for a whole lot for his team, and Pico, who is really the one who should be the one leading the charge, did not get in until there were already about 2 people down.
Yeah, it's a really well executed fight by Shifting Sands Gaming right there, and you know, this is something that they needed. They're now catapulted in the lead. You know, we were talking just before, or I was mentioning just before that the team fight, that this has been a relatively even game for a long time, and now take a look. 3.8 thousand gold in the lead, and they're tied in dragons. This is a really good point for Shifting Sands Gaming to start to close out this game.
Yeah, they've gotten a bit of momentum for themselves, and they're going to continue to push that here. And now, if the biggest thing too is after that momentum, they have the towers down to continue pushing and keep pressure on. I think it's going to be a little bit slow until another objective, as there's not enough power gained from that just yet to actually push in, but it's going to be basically just holding out, waiting for another fight, because if there is a full 5-on-5 fight, the gold is definitely in Shifting Sands' favor, and I think it's going to continue that way for a good bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, these teams have been relatively measured when it comes to picking and choosing their team fights, right? They've been pretty reserved. So, just as I say that, they haven't really been fighting like when there isn't an objective ready to be taken, right? So they've been playing pretty conservative. So, Shifting Sands Gaming will have this lead for a little bit.
And the question is then, how do you come back from that? I think the biggest thing is that Zpico needs to lead the charge on a fight that is not an objective fight. You don't
Right.
want to take another fight around this dragon. You don't want to 5v5 because you're far enough behind that it's going to cause an impact at this point. You're going to just be weaker going toe-to-toe with a full-on fight. However, if you and the Yuumi run across somebody who's alone, or if you and the Yuumi and somebody else come across somebody who's alone, you can chase them down a little bit better and try and make those picks. That's what will help get you back into this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've got a squad that can kind of run into these kind of quick little fights here. Yuumi and Zpico have been doing a very good job of just roaming around the map together. You know, that cat is definitely and she's been cuddling up to Kane basically all game. So this is a two-man squad here that is very, very potent and has some good backup across the map, because you know, we've been seeing all of the laners kind of sticking to the lanes for a lot longer than, you know, we see most folks.
Yeah, it's been fairly slow as far as the actual macro of the game has been. We've seen a lot of different fights going back and forth, but nothing in terms of actual map movement that has really caught the eye outside of those towers going down and the objective fights around those dragons. It's been fairly slow overall. The big thing that is going to be scary here for Shifting Sands, and I think why we're going to see such a focus on the dragons here and objective fights, is because of the fact that you have the Heimerdinger and the Ziggs. They're so difficult to push into. They wave clear so incredibly well, and they're going to keep pushing off. And you have a Yasuo 80 carry on the other team, so Siege is not really an option. You walk up to a tower, you have just going to take a bunch of damage unless the Senna just gets obscenely fed and can hit from far away.
Yeah, and with that, the minions are also going to be grabbing this bot inner turret from the red team here, so they're gonna get a decent chunk of gold. The blue team is going to grab another decent chunk of gold for themselves here as the Baron buff is starting up here. I like this play from 12IQ here. They're being very aggressive so they can start charging that Mega Gnar bar. It's going to super Mega Inferno Bomb over the wall. The blue team is going to be the one securing it. So now Zpico is in the middle of the pit trying to secure it. They're going to dash out, but look at these dingle dangle turrets. They're doing so much damage. Now they're looking for more. Zpico gets a great knock up onto Stati here. Going to be able to find that shutdown. Solitaire 12IQ is fighting up at the top lane, making sure that he can't teleport into this fight as the Mega Gnar here. So now they have to duke it out 1v1. 12IQ taking incredibly low here. Solitaire going to use that extra range from the lethal tempo to secure a kill, as well as 2 for nothing. Across the map. They might have gotten the Drake, but now it looks like they might lose the Baron.
Yeah, that fight got real weird real fast as the Heimerdinger turrets were so influential in that dragon pit. Just placed him down, and suddenly Stati's health was just gone. It was so very fast, and then yeah, Zpico did not get the actual dragon kill. However, we did see them get the kill on the person, then turn the fight from that point onwards. And yeah, Solitaire has hit the crazy late game Jax point. Level 16 is 2 items already completed, and Gnar really is going to be able to duel even in the mega form right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing for me in that fight is kind of realizing that Stati doesn't really have a good MR item to be building against a lot of their team here. You know, they got the Ziggs, they got the Yuumi, they got the Heimerdinger. It's going to be a decent chunk of magic damage that if Stati was able to build something like a Maw Malmortius, could they be able to survive in some of these fights longer than with a Immortal Shield Bow?
It's hard to say. The shield bow is so incredibly important to get in on people and make sure that you can stay healthy. I think that's a little bit more of a problem than, you know, going for something else. The Death Stance is going to be coming up next, which I'm not sure. Okay, the passive of Death Stance, really good, really useful. But the actual stats that you're getting from that are not going to help from the actual, the full damage coming through on the Heimer and the Ziggs. So I would kind of prefer the Wit's End, getting that magic resist, getting the on-hit damage, and also, importantly, granting that move speed to be able to get in these fights a little easier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a little awkward, right? Because you even the armor is good against their team as well, right? Against Zpico and Solitaire, but still, like, I feel like you're more threatened by Ziggs and Heimerdinger here just because of how far away they're able to fight you from. right? Like you only have one wind wall, and you can't. And Cheesy Sammy has been playing this fight really well and has been positioning their turrets in a way that just one wind wall could not block all the damage, right?
Yeah, it really is going to become a problem once a little bit more damage gets completed. It's also important to note too that we do have 2 Leandries. If I remember right, they changed that so that they do stack a little bit, if I remember right. I have to double check on that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of burn damage. It's going to be a lot of poke and a lot of siege. And now we're seeing a little bit of where the power from this composition that Mythic have put together can shine.
Yeah, as now Ashen Chevalier looking for Solitaire right here. Going to use that blast cone to get over the wall. Looks like they're going to give themselves just a little bit of room. But yeah, you're right. Like, take a look at this. They have to... The Shifting Sands is basically forced to being defensive like a lot. And Ziggs, look at how much damage he does to these turrets. ZP
Yeah.
go.
So now you're seeing where Mythic can really shine here. Look, Cheesy Sammy all set up here. The damage!
Yeah, holy moly. Ashen Chevalier has to use that ultimate in order to get out, and Senna is going to use hers to save their life. They're going to be able to block a little bit of damage and just root them up so they can walk away. But this is big. We have Hextech Drake spawning in about less than a minute here. So this does give the opportunity for Mythic here to just kind of start setting up their vision around the Dragon Pit and clearing out whatever Shifting Sands already has set up.
Yeah, and you can see Heimerdinger's still set up here, just waiting for round number 2. Ashen Chevalier is just aware of this to a degree. No damage done to those turrets. Remember, I think in the last couple of patches, Heimer did get a buff to make the turrets a little bit tankier, and that is coming in clutch right now. Because right before the dragon spawns, they have to clear out this vision. And now you also have the ticking time bomb that is this Jax on the top side. Gnar can't handle it anymore, and it wants to show up to these team fights, but now Jax is really going to clear out towers, has that hull breaker as well. Mythic's composition has started to hit full stride, especially because they've been able to actually get onto turrets, take them down with the Zigsheimer, and have that extra gold to catch back up in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is once again kind of we're kind of taking a look at what we've seen over the past couple of days, right? Solitaire here is doing a very good job of being that split push threat, making sure 12 IQ is staying up in this top lane, and even in some cases wasting that Narbar. Here, like, this is a really good time to start up the Drake, right? Mockingbird has already taken a decent chunk of poke damage, and Gnar just lost the Mega Gnar here, right? If Gnar teleports in, that will be a mini Gnar, right? It won't be as useful to their team. So now they kind of have to back away here and might have to give up the Drake.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if Mockingbird or Solitaire is actually communicating that to the team, or if that is just being kind of just an assumed thing of, well, Gnar's going to TP at some point. What are we doing here?
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be the initiation right there. Going to knock them into the air. Ashen Chevalier is still pretty healthy here. Zpico taking incredibly low. That's going to be the Kane ultimate coming across. Looking still pretty healthy, though. Going to be able to try to flash away. Not going to be able to get it. 1, 2 kills. Goes over to the side of Shifting Sands Gaming. They're still looking for a little bit more, but finding a hard time trying to aggress into the Heimerdinger Terrace. Cimarron takes a whole bunch of damage from Talia here. Gnar is now finally in the fight, and Mega Gnar as well. Hops forward, flash, Gnar's into the wall. Going to be able to pick up the kill on the Cimarron here, but that's going to be the return kill from Cheesy Sammy here, as now Solitaire looking for some sort of steal, looking for something cheeky, but can't quite find it, because that's a really good snare from Alpaca Bullet to Cheesy Sammy. The next target goes golden. Not going to be able to live this time, trying to find a cheeky kill onto Stoddy, but it's not going to happen this time. They go 4 for 2 and get the Hextech Soul to boot. What a prize!
Yeah, there was just a little bit of lackadaisical hanging out in that river there, which gave the opportunity for an engage from Shifting Sands. They saw the Kane, they saw the Ziggs there and said, where are your friends? You do not have... When you are the 4-person group, you've got to stick close together. You've got to be very capable of taking that 4v5 fight and have your friend TP in at the same time. If you are down to 3, especially when one of those 3 is a Yuumi, your body count is a lot lower, and it's an easy engage to make the call for from that point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a really, really patient fight there. Really, really well played as well. And even though Gnar didn't have the Mega Gnar when they started here, and I think that that might have been you're asking why they initiated there, right? But that was still a very, very good follow up. And once Kane and Yuumi had gone down, it was just a very clear like let's just go and collapse on the rest of them. Like they were able to still Mythic was still able to kind of like on the wings just throw out some harassment and at least be a nuisance to like keep them from continuing to engage. But the pick onto Zpico was huge.
Yeah, it was very big, and just the fact that they just weren't ready for that engage was such a problem. That's what you do when you're a siege kind of range comp or a split push comp. You want to avoid an engage. You need to have those disengage tools, and those disengage tools were not ready there. The Yuumi couldn't get out. Like the Ziggs was stuck in a bad spot. There's not a lot of full-on hard reset of a fight kind of abilities like a Nami wave or like a Braum ult. They don't have anything like that, so it's got to be done very naturally, and you have to respect the range at which you can be engaged from.
Yeah, it's kind of when it comes to disengage, it's kind of all on Yuumi and Heimerdinger as well. But if Heimerdinger misuses his ultimate, or just I don't want to say misuses, right? But like uses it on like a turret instead of like the big bouncing grenade, which is a very, very good like peeling ability, like you could end up just still having to deal with the dive once it happens, especially when Kane goes down, right? Kane is your most reliable form of peel because of that knockup that they have, right? This is going to be the most it's going to be the easiest thing to do outside of an ultimate for your team, right? And if Pike goes, or if Kane goes down, that's a huge resource that your team just doesn't have available to them.
We will see the startup of the Baron, as they really are just trying to lean into this Jax.
Oh, yeah, that's a great Talia ultimate, going to cut their team in half here. Heimerdinger is not in the fight, and Frost can't tether over them. Has to get real close. Zpico pops out, but he's still not doing enough damage in order to finish off these targets, and now that's a 2-for-0. And now, Stadi over the wall, gets the ultimate, gonna be able to find Cheesy Sammy here, goes golden, but Mockingbird is ready to go as well. Windwall comes out huge, Mythic Frost trying to get it, but still is not going to come out on top. It's a 4-for-0, and now 12 IQ has to fight against Solitaire in this bot lane here. This is the only thing that Mythic can do in order to save this play. They get an inhibitor, but they lose 4 members, but they lose their whole team and Baron.
Yeah, and that will open up an opportunity to push up the mid lane here as we wait for the death timers. So it isn't even really that much gained, as we may start to see the base crack open here. An inhibitor for an inhibitor, and maybe possibly more depending on how quick these guys want to move. I think with the death timers coming up here now, it's just going to be the back away. But ultimately, yeah, that fight, Zpico is past the point of prime. We are seeing what Kane turns into as the game turns on when he is red form. He doesn't have the inherent tankiness. He relies so much on the healing, and we're seeing a heal cut item on every single person on the side of Shifting Sands. It's so difficult to actually stay alive in this, and the Yuumi is not going to help you do much better. So it's so rough at this point to play the Kane, and that's where a lot of their money went. Now, without that Kane to frontline, you're stuck with a paper-thin frontline and 2 champions that need somebody to get in front of them to do their job.
Yeah, for sure. Is now the game, once again, we're getting into 40 minutes here, right? Like you said, this Kane is up against a team that is ready for that healing, especially with Yuumi as well. There's not a whole lot of big frontline options for their team. It is just the Kane. Take a look at the items that he's built, though. Death Stance, Gore Drinker, Spirit Visage. Once again, like you said, relying heavily on the healing. It's a very linear champion that has been built right here. It's like, I'm going to live not because I have a lot of HP, but because I heal for 1 billion, right? And if your healing is cut by 50% and you're being focused by the entire enemy team, you know, in these team fights, then it's really going to be a big problem that you can't live, right? Your main source of defensiveness has been cut in half, and now you have 5 members on you.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, and we will see how it works out. But really, right now, I think it's just a let's try and hold out as long as possible. Like we've said before, Zigsheimer, very difficult to burn through, and you're seeing even with the Baron buff, the Ziggs can clear out things okay. Elder Dragon has been picked up, and I think this is going to be the point where you see SSG push in and push their limits because you can start the fight now. You can get in, and even if you just take them low, that's enough. They will die from the Elder Dragon buff.
Yeah, I mean, it was an uncontested Elder Drake as well. So now they've got Baron for just a little bit longer. They have now the Elder Drake, and plus it's the Hex Tech as well, right? The Hex Tech Drake already gives them an initial bit of like that little chain lightning damage. So now with all of these buffs kind of combined, they really have a very, very easy way of eliminating a lot of these HP bars.
Yeah, we've already seen them losing out on fights and how quickly they've gone down. And now with that meaning they're going to go down even faster, it feels like the end is nigh for Mythic Fallen.
Yeah, and I love this play as well. They're not trying to like ARAM around these Nexus turrets right here. They're going immediately to help Gnar in the top half of the map here. This is a very good job. We're going to do the pincer movement. We're going to stranglehold you out of this game, remove all your inhibitors. So now you have to deal with 3 waves of supers, even if you kill us here. But that's going to be the ultimate from Ashen Chevalier. Going to turn off both the Nexus turrets here. Solitaire is going to be taken down. That's going to be the first execute here. They're going to be able to find the second here, the second that Z-Pico comes out, but the blue health bars are being eliminated one by one. Simmerald is still looking for more. Alpaca Bullet 2 is doing some decent damage, but they still haven't been able to find that execute just yet. 12 IQ doing a good job of dancing out around the range of these turrets, trying to find that damage onto them. They might be able to find it just a little bit more, but these HP bars are so low, and Simmerald is doing such a good job. Let's see. Okay, we got a Mega Gnar here that's a lot more HP. They're trying to zone them off as best they can and maybe find another turret here, but it looks like they just can't do it.
The 6th and 7th man of the team for Mythic Fallen is the Nexus towers there. They get a little bit too deep in there and tank up those towers too long, and just barely is Pico able to stay alive for as long as he does. That keeps him in the game, keeps them from taking the Nexus, and means Mythic Fallen are going to have at least one more shot before this game ends.
Yeah, we're really going to have to watch as this game goes on, because I believe they should be losing... yeah, they should have lost the Elder Drake buff, so we have just less than a minute here until the last Baron spawns, and this could be the end of the game, right? Not just because you need Baron buff to win, but because if the fight is taken and Mythic loses, that's the end of the game. The game's over, right? You're not going to have enough time to go and defend the base, right? But if you just let Baron be taken, then that's going to be another way that they can just win the game, right? If they're not just winning here, right? With all of the inhibitors down, they have double super waves pushing in the top and bot, and they're only really answering the bot lane here with all 5 or 4 members pushing in through the mid lane here.
And we see the TP coming back. This is going to be the push for the end here.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, the final Nexus turret goes down. There's no more turrets for Mythic here. Z-Pico is going to be the focus of this fight. Going to go through huge last breath. Going to land onto 2, but Yumi's going to be able to find the kill onto Talia, and now they're just trying to ignore the team that they can do and go and finish off the Nexus. All they needed to do was distract for just a little bit to give Ashen Chevalier and Alpaca Bowler 2 enough time to finish off the Nexus and take game number 1.
Yeah, a nice start to the night for Shifting Sands and a very slow, methodical, clean game from them. Took a little bit longer than it maybe needed to, but ultimately they do finish out the game strong, and they don't let the siege split push get them hot and bothered. They just keep going, pushing forward, and finish the game out. 44 minutes for one game that's a decent chunk of time.
Yeah, I think that's the longest game we've seen over the past like week, right?
Definitely.
I think we saw like maybe max like 37, 38 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit longer than we've seen from anybody else, but they kept their worries in check. They were ready to go, and they did not allow for any kind of, because that is a composition that you're playing against. Mythic Fallen's composition, if you show a sign of weakness, if you falter in any point, you're gonna have that split push happen. You're gonna have that siege set up. You've got to be able to keep breaking that siege down, keep the fight going. And we did see Shifting Sands do that, and that is why they're victorious.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of game number 2 of Shifting Sands Gaming up against Mythic Fallen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 12. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are in Picks and Bans of game number 2 of Mythic Fallen up against Shifting Sands Gaming. Now, Shifting Sands Gaming, after a very long, methodical game, was able to close out on a very convincing victory against Mythic Fallen in game number 1. Now, let's see if any changes to the comps need to happen in this game number 2 in order to give Mythic Fallen that edge that they need in order to take it to a game 3. Thousand, what do you think?
I am hopefully looking to see a slight change up in draft here. I think Mythic Fallen, if they're gonna go for something that has that siege, I think you need a bit more frontline in a jungler, or at least just somebody that can frontline there. Getting a tank, something like the Sejuani is a possibility. Ornn as well could work. There are definitely options, but Mythic Fallen did not have the frontline needed in order to make that composition work in the late game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is if they want to go toe to toe with Shifting Sands Gaming, with them picking a similar comp, and based on these bans so far, it doesn't seem like anything is truly taken off the board that was completely different from the previous game. Now, Mythic Fallen have opted to ban a lot more champions that were problems for them in the previous game, the Talia, the Volibear, and have opted to first pick the Diana here in order to give themselves a 4th ban. Now, this was a ban that we saw in the previous game as well, so this is a pretty interesting choice here. I'll have to see if Z-Pico is comfortable on this champion, but it's definitely interesting to see that being picked here for the Diana. We'll see if they grab the Yasuo as well.
Yeah, we will see, as I believe it's going to actually be a fight over who gets the Yasuo. I can imagine the Senna Yasuo coming now, to avoid making sure that gets taken away. Regardless, though, that does suck. Diana's still good all around, but overall, that will just be a bit of a loss on that composition. I hope Mythic Fallen had other things planned to go with this. Granted, she will fit into a lot of compositions, but man, it feels a little rough when you're like, we got the Diana, we'll get the Yasuo. We didn't get the Yasuo.
Yeah. We are seeing them opt for the Janna this time around. I guess this is to take Yasuo away from the team. The problem is, I'm not sure if Janna Ultimate interrupts Last Breath. Last Breath, that doesn't interrupt you, right? You can't be interrupted during that because you're untargetable. You can? Okay.
No, you can. If you get hit by Monsoon, you get hit by the tornado, like anything. Okay. Crowd control does work. It is basically you are just in that place.
All right. Now, okay, so this might be a good counter pick to the Yasuo here as well. I like this Poppy pickup to counter the Diana and a little bit the Ezreal as well. So there's a lot of interesting kind of counter picks happening right here. And the Ashen Chevalier Poppy, love to see it coming back.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so very aggressive, and Ashen Chevalier looked really good on it the last time that we saw it, so definitely excited to see that as well. Getting the Ezreal, as I think, is also a nice pick too. Make sure that you can harass this Yasuo a good bit. Once you get that Sheen, you're going to force Senna onto heal duty pretty hard, and Poppy is also going to struggle to get a hold of you. You can shift out of those tornadoes, you can shift out of Poppy E as well, and make sure that you keep yourself safe from any kind of ganks that could come along.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're seeing Azir being locked in for Shifting Sands Gaming here. So they are giving Yasuo some champions that can give him the knockup that he's looking for, and some pretty big ones too. Poppy's ultimate, if just kind of slammed down on the R, not if you don't charge it right, it does give you that knockup that's very powerful. And not to mention Emperor's Divide. That's a whole lot of champions knocked into the air here for Yasuo to follow up with that last breath. And this is, you know what? I love this pick as well. I love the Lissandra here.
Yep.
Very, very good champion for that kind of anti-dive mechanic. The second you get any relatively close to Lissandra, she works just like that Malzahar. Point and click, you're stunned.
So what does scare me about this is the fact that if this was Lissandra against Yasuo in the mid lane, That would be great. That would be incredible. Unfortunately, it's going to be in the mid lane against the Azir, and the range of the Azir is going to be frustrating to deal with in lane, and Diana is not going to provide any kind of help to that until level 6. You're going to be waiting a good bit before you can actually pressure this Azir a bit, and that's going to really be a struggle, and I hope that does not mean that Mythic Fallen just do not have a mid lane once that point starts coming around.
Mm-hmm. Right, they are going to be able to pick up the Gnar as well. So I'm really liking the team that Mythic Fallen have drafted here. Lots of AoE CC, lots of good ways to interrupt the dive from Shifting Sands between Poppy, Azir, and Gwen. Lots of good non-targeted abilities as well. It's just, man, I feel like there's not a whole lot of good follow-up to Diana initiation. I feel like this Diana here kind of feels like a fish out of water, where they had to like severely pivot their style of composition once this Yasuo was locked in. First pick for Shifting Sands Gaming. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a little weird to go for the Gwen at the end. I will give me 1 second as I gotta. Oh, yeah. Go on, Shinkari. I gotta tell people what to do.
I mean, yeah, this Diana here feels kind of like a fish out of water, and while it's a good initiation tool to follow up along with Gnar, I feel like there's not a whole lot of the rest of the team. The rest of the team just feels kind of defensive. There's kind of like this kind of front to back style that's kind of, I don't know if it's front to back that looks that I'm thinking of, but more of like just I don't know, it feels weird. Lissandra and Janna are more defensive, whereas Diana and Gnar are more offensive. Gnar is a little bit more flexible within that role, right? Can play defensive, can be aggressive as well, especially with the ultimate. But you know, it just feels weird to me that there's like, oh, we want them to stay away, oh, but we want to be in melee range.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little funky, but we will see how that works. I think really what it is just trying to keep that dive of the Yasuo and the Gwen, the Poppy, trying to keep them away from this Ezreal. That's going to be the real big question. If Ezreal can kite these champions out, there's a strong opportunity for Mythic Fallen to win a long-term fight off of a good start, right? You catch out that Yasuo or Senna with the Lissandra ult, with the Diana Gnar, there's chances there to make that happen, and then you just focus on keeping Ezreal alive for the rest of the fight. You can pull out a win from that. On the other hand, though, Shifting Sands, that is a wombo combo that is very scary to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, luckily for Mythic Fallen, they do have kind of the answers to this kind of linear team fight style here. As you know, they're looking to dive, they're looking to get right into you, they're looking to enable Yasuo, right? And then give space for Senna if she's able to scale and get up to a point where she does do a lot of damage, right? So this is going to be an interesting playstyle, right? Because Mythic Fallen a little bit more flexible with how they want to play, where Shifting Sands kind of drafted this linear idea. Hey, we have one idea, we're really good at it, we're going to execute on it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it's gonna work. Because obviously Azir into Yasuo, Azir ult into Yasuo, very scary. Poppy ult can follow up on that also as well, pretty nicely. And then I think what's also really interesting is the possibility of Poppy just yanking somebody out of this fight and just tossing them aside, getting a Mega Gnar out, getting a Lissandra pre-ultimate Diana before her ultimate damage pops out. There's a lot of chances for Poppy's ult to do a lot of work if you predict them coming in and have it charged up ready to go ahead of time.
Yeah. It's very going to be very interesting for sure to see how this game plays out, right? Because, you know, like we've been talking about, if Mythic Fallen does fall behind, they still have tools to kind of kite out these fights and play defensive. And then, you know, Shifting Sands, they kind of need to kind of get a lead here. Once again, they're very linear. They don't really have the best of front lines here. Gwen is not a frontliner. Azir is not a frontliner. Poppy is all you've got. If you fall behind, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble, because this team, once again, Mythic Fallen, very flexible here. They can be aggressive if they want to be.
Absolutely. It's basically gonna just come down to that kiting, right? Like
Mhm.
it's there's chances for it. Once again, I think Mythic Fallen this time around they're the ones trying to kite out as opposed to Shifting Sands who are going to be looking to dive in and catch this Ezreal out. I think the individual lanes are where I'm going to be keeping my eyes here because Nar should do well into Gwen. The Lissandra is going to struggle hard against Azir in the early game. And Janna Ezreal, it is a we go even, we're the winners in this. If we keep fighting and skirmishing, Yasuo will be able to outpace us.
Right. And I think the bottom lane for me is really going to come down to kind of like a Tryndamere matchup almost, where Yasuo has to be managing the amount of mana that Janna and Ezreal have. Now, this
Mhm.
is going to be a little bit tougher than like a traditional kind of Tryndamere matchup where Tryndamere just waits for the mage to run out of mana and then beats the crap out of them, right? Because you're dealing with two people, right? But even Ezreal and Janna early on don't have as good mana management because they're requiring kind of items to kind of fill in that gap, right? Ezreal will start with a tier, but right, that's about as best as he's going to be doing, right?
Mhm.
Like so Yasuo in here is going to be looking for that mana management and kind of to force them to be more conservative with their spells in order to deal with Yasuo dives level 2, level 3.
Yeah, I am very excited to see how it works. We will have to wait and see as we are just going to be waiting a little bit longer for that.
Yeah, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Mythic Fallen versus Shifting Sands Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 12. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by 1,000 Eyes, and here we are on the Rift of game number 2 of Mythic Esport up against Shifting Sand Gaming. Now, game number 1 took us to about 40 minutes where Shifting Sand Gaming was able to clinch out a win. And now, here we are, got a line of scrimmage across the river, and we're ready for game 2 to start.
Yeah, overall, gonna just see everything span out for now, and we'll see how everything ends up shifting out as we are gonna see the Azir versus that Lissandra. I'm really concerned about this. I feel like this is gonna be frustrating, difficult to deal with. 12 IQ, just getting the little. That is one of my favorite things about Gwen. Very honestly, that you could just turn her. You could turn her into the tiny.
The doll?
The tiny doll, and you can walk around. Yeah, like you can walk around for a sec with it, which is really cute.
That is really cute. I like that.
A lot of people aren't aware that you can actually walk around as the tiny doll for a second.
That is very funny. I like that a whole lot. As now, got a pretty slow start for both teams here. Didn't look for any sort of cheeky invades early, so we're gonna get a similar start from both junglers here. So we're gonna see them pop out around this bottom lane here. We'll see if we'll see any fighting or any ganks early on. Do you think we're gonna see any sort of early ganks from either of these champs, or is it full clear and then back and buy items?
I feel like Diana definitely wants to just clear and just back away. Poppy, on the other hand, could go for a little bit of an early gank. That's a possibility, but also is fine just farming up as well.
As yeah, we are. I mean, I don't expect this game to be super bloody, right? Once again, like even in the previous game, like these two teams, like not exactly looking to do a whole lot of fighting back and forth early. They're mostly looking to scuffle and maybe get folks out of lane, but not really getting early first bloods.
Yeah. Most likely just going to be trading back and forth. It'll take a bit of a goof from either side to see anything crazy happen here. Gnar does have a slightly inherent heal, if you want to call it, as he transforms. He gains that health. When he transforms, he gains the max health, and that max health stays then when he does transform back down, as long as he does have enough. So it's not the end of the world. If he does take a little bit of poke, he kind of just heals it back up naturally.
As yeah, we are once again pretty slow start here, and pretty predictable starts as well. I think the only thing super out of the ordinary just yet is just the call start onto Gnar. It looks like it just tells me that this is going to be so much of a farm fest up in the top lane that 12 IQ might just be like forced to aggress here just because Gnar has that call on them.
Yeah, 12 IQ definitely is going to feel a little bit of pressure here, and it's going to be difficult because that mini Gnar just does so much damage and is so difficult to deal with. Just trying to walk up is going to be a pain. We do see a little bit of jungle action on this bot lane here. Diana looking to go in, but Poppy's still here.
Yeah, that's going to be a good knock up onto the Janna here. Z-Pico has arrived. Ashen Chevalier has shown up as well. They're going to flash away, get towards their turret, but now Z-Pico is in some trouble. It's going to be the exhaust coming down. I didn't think there was going to be an early first blood here, but ooh, just as both exhausts are thrown in, the heal as well. They're not going to be able to find the first blood just yet. So many summoner spells spent in this bottom lane here.
Yeah, that was a really nice counter gank from the side of Ashen Chevalier to show up, shove the Diana back in. They got the exhaust and forced the flash thanks to that, the Yasuo Q with the tornado, making sure that weren't getting hit by the knockup because that would have been detrimental to them.
As now we're going to try to take a look at the rest of the map here. That is a lot of summoner spells spent in that bottom lane, so we might see a repeat performance from these junglers here, as everything is kind of respawning in that kind of way to path them down towards this bottom side again as well. So we're seeing Poppy going to grab Wraiths. We see Diana going to grab Krug, and as I forgetting the name of the frog, but the big frog. Diana's getting the big frog and pathing her way down anyway, so we might see a repeat performance from these junglers.
Diana, get big frog, go down.
Yes.
And then you... Oh my god. Okay.
What part of that sentence is wrong, huh? What part of that sentence is wrong?
It's really just that it's parts of a sentence that is the problem. But Diana will just clear out, and we're just really looking for that level 6 point, right? We're looking to see if that's where maybe they get a little bit of aggression on this mid lane here, where Azir will have to play a little bit safer. You can already see a little bit of a CS gap growing in that mid lane there from Azir's poke. As Pico going to show up again, bot lane should be spotted. This was pinged.
Yeah, here comes Pico in from the side here, going to land the Crescent Strike, but can't land the dash because they're not targetable. So not going to be able to complete that gank just yet as Poppy makes a similar path back into the jungle here. Once again, I'm expecting a repeat performance. We see a whole lot of still summoner spells down in this bottom lane here, and they're both kind of lanes that want to get some more time to kind of free farm here and get some of those items.
Yeah, that is going to be maybe just a little bit of Pico trying to go for some of the same aggression we saw. I don't think it's going to work out as well. It's just a bit annoying. Ooh, 12 IQ getting shoved back, not into the wall, interestingly enough.
Yeah, for sure. Is now once again, it's going to be real tough. I don't think you have enough prio in the mid lane or in the bot lane here in order to go and grab this dragon that has just spawned, which is actually a great one. The Cloud Drake is actually the best individual dragon that you can get because it means that your soul is not going to be a win soul, as that's a couple of spells. The ultimate from Azir coming out to just save him from that gank. Really well played. It's going to be a wash in the mid lane.
It's going to be a wash, but it is a good move to get this Lissandra out as soon as the level 6 happens. So that first ult is going to have to be a little bit brought in from a safer position. Statty going in.
Yeah, it's really, really close. They're playing with fire, Statty was. And now, let's see how they deal with that. Once again, I think Stoddy was just trying to get as much aggression in as he could. If he could find a cheeky kill, then that's great, but it looks like he might be looking to reset, or it looks like they're just going to pick up the strike here.
Yeah, with that pressure in the bot side, with that pressure on the Lissandra and that gank not working out, they do get that first dragon. We'll pick that one up pretty easily. And the early game presence has had its effect, although the gold is still going in favor here of the side of Mythic Fallen. As you see, this top lane has started to be a bit of a problem. Gwen not having a good time, and the mid lane, thanks to the Azir and the bot lane moving up, they do lose out on a little bit of CS in the process.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is that not only does Solitaire have that CS lead, but also because he has the cull, he's got a much larger gold lead as well. 61 extra gold in his pocket. Is 12 IQ does not have a single coward bone in their body, even dives underneath turret, trying to grab that kill. Is so very close to grabbing it too. Solitaire lives by the skin of their teeth after spending their flash. So it's going to be, once again, another wash in this map here, as both teams still kind of struggle to get this first blood.
I mean, to be fair, 12 IQ is also a doll, so I don't think he does have any bones in his body. And 12 IQ will... So that is the TP. That is the TP down, okay, which means 12 IQ here will be able to go down, help with this Rift Herald, and then back, maybe TP if needed. I don't think it really will be needed. I think 12 IQ will be fine to just back here and then show up there. Oh, somebody pick it up.
Yeah, y'all, you don't just kill the guy. You have to pick up the eyeball afterwards, just for the heads up, just in case y'all were curious onto how that worked.
I'm a support player. I don't know these things.
Yeah, I've never seen that item before in my life. Yeah, we both play support. So we don't even know what that is. Rift Herald, I didn't even know what that is.
Sometimes there's a bug in my lane and I get scared.
It has a big
really
eyeball
the long
on
and
it.
short of it. Yeah, it has a big eyeball on it. I'm like, that's not normal. That's not a normal thing bugs do.
Why do they have an eyeball on their back?
I already don't like bugs, so it's a rough time. But now bot lane.
Yeah, Simmerald here gonna get a decent chunk of damage onto them here. already
That's
taken
why we
very,
see the
very
jam.
low. Great last breath as well. But once again, still, no one's able to confirm these kills just yet. Everyone's been doing so much. Maybe we'll have some luck in the mid lane here as Zpico throws out the Moonfall there. But once again, Emperor's Divide and the dash. No, Mockingbird,
Why
you're
are
too
you
close.
walking in?
Zpico, finally, 10 minutes in, putting themselves onto the scoreboard. Gonna give themselves first blood.
I don't know why we walked back in there, but we did, and Mockingbird pays the price for it. Will end up falling. And now top lane, Solitaire now getting engaged on. Gnar is available.
Yeah, gonna be able to throw 12 IQ backwards here and give Ashen Chevalier just a little bit more space to clear out this wave. Diana has shown up to the top lane here. So this is a real good time for them to pressure. Gnar does not have teleport and has to back here, so they could drop the Rift Herald top, but it looks like Poppy has just gone back into the jungle here.
I think what they really just want to do is they want to get a tower down with it as much as they can. Do have to be careful. You do not want to be holding on to that when tower plates fall. You want to get that money out as soon as you can. But ultimately, I can understand wanting to wait, maybe see if you could use it on this bot lane and open up the possibility of this Yasuo Senna to be able to roam around the map a little bit more.
Yeah, I do actually like what they've been doing. Ooh, Stotty here. Looking to go underneath turret. Janna exhausted up. Scotty taking just a little bit too much of the turret here. Has to dash out of the way. Might be in some real big trouble. Ezreal is making his way back to the lane here. That's going to be CC'd up, knocked into the air. Last breath. Not going to get it this time. Senna is going to be the one cleaning up the kill. It's a 1-for-1 of the bot lane, but here comes Diana in from the river as well. Looking for Senna inside the mist. Gonna land the Q, dashes back in, Moonfall's gonna happen, Alpaca Bowler 2 is already flashed away, Ashen Chevalier not gonna land the stun onto the wall here, but it's going to back them away 1-for-1 in the bot lane, 300 gold in the lead for Mythic here.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, that kill goes into the Janna's pockets, not the Ezreal, as opposed to on the other side, Senna picks up the kill. And usually you're like, it's K, both supports got the kill. It's a Senna getting the kill, as opposed to that any other support, as opposed to being a Yumi, as opposed to being a Lulu, an Alistar, anything like that. It's somebody that actually wants and needs that gold, so you're fine with that trade. And on top of that, Janna's going to miss out on some experience, isn't there to protect Ezreal, so it works out really well at the end of the day, as now we are going to see a little bit of dragon pressure thanks to this mid lane dominance that this Lissandra has been able to get post 6.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is anyways, might be in some trouble here. Ashen Chevalier showing up, but once again, blue team is able to secure the Drake here, so they've got an Ocean Drake in their pockets. We have an Earth Drake as a slow for this map. Pico might be caught out here. This is looking like some trouble here. I'm about to land this knock up here, but the rest of the blue team here gonna land a knock up on it anyways. Gonna keep them away for just a little bit longer, but they're still looking to aggress here. Alpaca Bowler 2 is in some trouble, as meanwhile in the mid lane, that's gonna be a Gnar to force them away from this turret here, as Lissandra's finally joined that fight there. Stotty still trying to dodge around for their lives here, but that Glacial Augment is way too strong. OP, please nerf, as they're gonna be able to find that kill in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Zpico a little bit too far forward, I think. Did eventually get the rest of the team to follow up and help out there. And Stotty and Alpaca Bowler 2 not able to get back around and keep themselves healthy. 12 IQ now. Maybe looking for a dive if he could hit this.
Yeah, 2 quick snips, and 12 IQ is going to be the one to pick up that kill here, as now I see NATO is then going to be in some trouble here. As Cimarrold is going to be in the similar time. They're going to have to flash onto the Essence shift onto the other side there. Oh, but it looks like the rest of the team wants to collapse here. Anyways, coming through, going to land the root, but great Poppy ultimate is going to knock them away.
So good.
Is now Zpico looking for a little bit more. The dash
So
is going to get blocked, and they're going to live to tell the tale. These two teams continue to stay relatively tied, even though the kills is in the favor of Mythic.
Ashen Chevalier just saved a kill twice in that fight there. The Poppy ult to get the Lissandra away before the ultimate, like we talked about. And then, as well, stopping the dash from the Diana. Both of those were things we were looking for from this Poppy, and Ashen Chevalier does it twice in a row there and saves Alpaca Bowler 2's life 2 times in a row.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is already looking pretty good. Oh, that's the Moonfall in the bot lane. ZPico landed onto 2. That's already a bunch of damage here. Simworld is doing a whole lot. Alpaca Bullet 2 is going to be the next to fall here. ZPico trying to look into turn this into a 1-for-1 as best he can. Stoddy trying to dodge away as best he can, but he can't dodge away from auto attacks. Double kill for Ezreal. 1 kill for Yasuo. This is looking pretty good for the blue team bot lane right now.
Yeah, they do win out on that fight. The Diana setting up things nicely, and Ezreal getting that double kill is really clutch. It does mean that they're going to have that scaling start to take effect. It's about 16 minutes in. This is where Ezreal will become a little bit of an issue as he's getting close to that Triforce. That seems to be what we're going to get from this Ezreal specifically. And that's where Ezreal's damage starts to get kind of high, starts to get at least to the point where it needs to be taken into account for. Previously, it's just kind of you're looking at the poke from the Sheen Q in lane. Now it's actually a problem. Now it's something that you're going to have to take into account for a fight. And this is where we need to see if the Yasuo, Azir, Poppy, Gwen, if they can get onto that Ezreal, if they can force him back, and that Janna is not enough to keep him alive, that's going to open up opportunities because that's a lot of the late game damage for Mythic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is now a really good. This is a huge power spike for Ezreal right now. Like, he nearly has that Muramana finish. Now with this Trinity Force right here, this is a lot of damage. If these fights continue to go long, this is going to be a Trinity Force that's going to do so much damage to the enemy team here. Now, I did want. Oh, wait a minute. You have a teleport here. Nara's looking for the fight onto Stoddy. And they're okay. Here comes Senna in from the side, in from the backside here. Windwall is going to protect him from Simmerald for just a little bit longer, but they've got nowhere to go. Stoddy is going to go down here. So Sandra looking to interrupt the back from Mockingbird here. Not going to be able to do so. 12 IQ pushing the top lane turret.
But it is at the end of the day, Shifting Sands that do lose out on the first turret. Or sorry, no, actually they did get the tower on the bot side. Wait, what?
Yep.
I did not notice that. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Weirdly, I could have sworn the announcer said red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could have sworn I heard that.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, it is 2 towers now. That's actually a nice chunk of gold, and that will give the gold lead over to SSG as they do win out on that. As right now, Dragon spawning in about 30 seconds. This could be a nice turnaround if either of these teams get it, because they're gonna be able to then look for a soul point in 5 minutes and try and get that tempo going in their favor.
Yeah, this Dragon is spawning in about 10 seconds here, so this is probably going to be our next big team fight here. And now since we are in the stage where everyone has 1 and sometimes even 2 points in their ultimate, this is going to be a big opportunity to see if Mythic can handle this big wombo combo that Shifting Sands has put together here.
They're going to be the ones starting. TP's coming in from Gwen. They're going to get there very late for this. I don't think they're going to have a chance.
Anyways, is going over the wall here. Going to be blocked up by Ashen Chevalier, and they're going to be able to secure that Drake here. It's 12 IQ. Look at the fight Solitaire. This top lane here. But it looks like they're just going to back away. They're not going to be able to contest this Drake. The first Earth Dragon goes over to Shifting Sands Gaming.
And now they are the ones in control of those dragons for right now. We'll see if that continues alongside as we do wait for the next 4.5 minutes to see where that goes. Ultimately, I think really both these teams can scale decently. It is a matter of execution. And right now with those 2 dragons and with that slight gold lead thanks to the towers, I'm thinking that SSG are looking to try and snowball a little bit off of this. This will be the 3rd tower down. And that could open up opportunities. Here comes the engage.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, is going to force them to use the ultimates here, taking a whole lot of damage, but they've gotten the turret. He might be able to distract ZPico for a little bit longer to get the second turret. Not going to be able to happen this time, but ZPico is going to be the one picking up the kill on the Mockingbird in the mid lane. They get a turret, but they don't. Not all of them live to tell the tale.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch Anyways go in, and we saw Mockingbird kind of try and predict it being used on himself, as he did ult immediately, trying to get Anyways out, but Anyways actually used the ult on himself to then buy more time for the rest of his team to show up, and then Mockingbird used the ult on nothing, had no way to disengage from that point onwards, and ended up just falling after that.
Yeah, it's a really good punish that they were able to do there. Once again, both of these teams are very good at keeping this game really even. We're 20 minutes in, and still neither of these teams have been able to break through with some sort of huge lead quite yet, right? And I know the second I said this in the previous game, there was a huge team fight and they were able to get 3,000 gold in the lead, but this is what happens when you have two very good teams going up against each other. They don't kind of coin flip this early game. They have a very solid plan, and whatever they fall behind in one way, they're able to catch up in another. So this is
Yeah.
really shout outs to both teams here for real. As now looking for a little bit more. Stotty does get frozen up here as Ashen Chevalier goes in. That's going to be the last breath, taken anyways incredibly low, but Lissandra's going to be the one picking up the kill here. Now they're going to have to get away as ZPico still looking pretty low. The Moonfall comes through, but that's going to be the second kill for the red team. Make that the third. Double kill for Lissandra, and now 12 IQ is here. Going to throw out the needlework, but not going to be able to find the damage that they're looking for onto the low health targets. 12 IQ, and then forced to just kind of wail on these minions a bit as the blue team backs away and looks for this Baron, perhaps?
Yeah, Stotty got hit at the start of that fight, was not able to really continue onwards. By the time the last breath came out, it was already down to under a third health, and anyways, was just really easy to take that one down. ZPico going in at low health as well, but the burst damage alongside the backup from the Janna gave the opportunity to turn that fight in their favor, and now we're seeing the Barons start. I don't know if they could really do much about this. Mockingbird's getting in trouble here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find the steal anytime soon, so the blue team gets 5 members with a Baron buff here. This is the swing that we were looking for. This is what's going to open up this game and really swing it into Mythic's favor. You know, nearly 22 minutes in here, we're looking at a team that has been doing a good job at, once again, you know, doing these kinds of things as a team and making sure that they can stay competitive against their opponent, and has been getting a whole lot of kills as well. Now they're going to have this opportunity to really shove out these waves, really get as much gold as they possibly can, and secure this lead. Because once again, like we said in Champ Select, if Shifting Sands Gaming falls behind, it's going to be harder for them to catch up because they really don't have a front line, right? So if this is Mythic's opportunity to really get a big lead and maybe secure a big enough lead in this game that they can start to close out.
Yeah, it's going to have to take a nice turnaround, and they do have the tools to do so. They've got the Azir, they've got the Yasuo. A good Yasuo will turn things, but nope, not when the Azir is dead.
Yeah, Mockingbird going to go down here really quickly, spotted out by some good wards from Mythic. Yeah, it's going to be really tough to land a wombo combo with that Yasuo with one of your main knockups taken down. And with that, they're going to grab the mid outer and the top outer as well, continuing their gold lead to almost 4,000.
The snowball is starting to get a little out of control. The whole reason that we did see SSG in the lead earlier was because of those towers. Then they started bleeding out more kills, and now the towers have gone back even. So you see how all of that lead was just standing gold, ready for Mythic Fallen to pick it up. We see the dragon spawn, so no soul really looking likely this game, as it is going to be 2 for 2 at 23.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be. If anyone gets a soul this game, it is going to be a million years later, and there's gonna be so many champions that have fallen off by then, and it's gonna be really tough to even get there, right? Like this is like, take a look at how strong Mythic is right now. They are not wasting any time. Wait a minute, we might have an engage here. Okay, never mind. We had a flank. They didn't want to go for it once the turret was done. They're just going to back away here, but that's 5 turrets grabbed with this Baron buff here. That's a really big Baron power play right there.
Yeah, because I mean, what do you do really if they just go in on you? You've got a Senna and you've got an Azir for wave clear, who are both okay when the waves are. When they're ahead, they will clear waves well. When they're behind, they'll do it okay. When it's Baron minions and they're behind, it becomes so very difficult because their damage just is not there to fully clear things out. Yasuo can't walk up, Poppy can't walk up, Gwen can't walk up. There's nobody else that can really clear these minions, and now those towers get wiped out so very quickly with the tower damage that this Ezreal can put out, on top of the fact that this Diana is fed as well.
Yeah, this is a real tough place to be in for Shifting Sands Gaming here. But we have seen them fall behind and still be in this game. I think both these teams are really quite even, and even if this game goes later, I could still see that like Senna being very, very powerful, right? I think after a while, in my opinion, Ezreal starts to fall off, right? Like Ezreal is very, very powerful in the middle of the game when he's got when he finishes the Muramana, when he finishes the Trinity Force, right? But kind of after that, he doesn't really build very high impact items after that. Like this Ravenous Hydra that he's probably going to finish, okay. But it's not really like as big of a damage spike as building the Trinity Force or building or finishing the Muramana was, right? From here, like the damage will go up, but it will kind of still look plateauish.
Yeah. It's falling. It is going up at a slower rate than the rest of that build really will, and that's a little scary because Yasuo's damage is going to continue to go. Right, we're getting that full crate Yasuo. He's going to continue to go off, and he's going to get beefier, which for Ezreal means one thing, as he usually ends up building something like a Frozen Heart. With the Yasuo, it means a whole different thing because he has to get in on people. He has to get into the middle of the fight as opposed to Ezreal, who wants to back away so often. So that means a lot for Yasuo to finish his damage items, get that death stance, get something else that improves his survivability. It means so much more than it means for somebody like Ezreal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be a defensive item on Yasuo is just so much more value because he gets more time in the middle of your team, right? Ezreal sometimes dances in and out of attack ranges, so his damage isn't always present, right? But if Yasuo building defensive items and sticking in the middle of your team for a little bit longer means that he's dealing just significantly more damage than he normally would, right? So this is, once again, like as this game goes on, I could see Gwen, Azir, Senna, of course, and Yasuo just scaling better than their opponents. Like there's an argument for Lissandra scaling really well late. There's an argument maybe for even Ezreal, but you know, in my opinion, it's just like, hey, mid game to late mid game, great. Late game, we are going to plateau out here.
Yeah, so it will be interesting. Senna is also going to continue to scale as well. So there is threat there. I think the biggest thing that scares me is that the scaling of the...
Ooh, wait a minute.
Oh,
ZP
no.
does use the Moonfall. It doesn't land onto anyone. That's going to be the Senna ultimate coming across here. But 2 ultimates were spent by Shifting Sands Gaming there, and that's important because they're eyeing the Baron right now.
They're in the Baron and the next dragon as well. So those are 2 big ultimates as well. Senna ultimate is a long cooldown. The Yasuo ultimate, I think, is going to be up by the time that next dragon spawns. But Solitaire maybe looking to start the fight early.
Does have that Mega Gnar available. 12 IQ is still immune while they're in that little mist there, but CPico's going to dive right in. 12 IQ is going to go golden. They're looking to continue this fight, but Ashen Chevalier has been stunned up. Anyways, is waiting along the wings here, outside vision, just to be a nuisance if they try to engage just a little too far. But now, this might be the opportunity for Mythic to grab this next Drake, because, you know, this is going to be really, really tough to engage on, especially when everyone is starting to reset.
We see everybody positioning here. They're trying to get an eye on this dragon, but Ashen Chevalier has no opportunity to get in. That is just another dragon gone. You don't need to fight for this. I think that is the correct call from Shifting Sands. They just hold back. They wait. And now they need to get over to that Baron fast. There's nobody with the teleport on that bot side. Gwen is already over there.
Okay, here's my idea. They were able to notice that at least 2 of their enemy team was backing. They could have, if they were all there, they could have gone for a cheeky, sneaky Baron play. They would have had the vision on it, like the enemy team would have had the vision, but the whole team had reset, so they needed to take a little bit of time to get there. Sadly, you know, the red team was not aligned to make that sort of play, but now they kind of have a little bit of wiggle room to go in and clear out the vision.
Yeah, having to back away there just to spend that gold means there's an opportunity. The time is not spent protecting that Baron area, and that will mean there's a little bit of time to try and get a little bit of eyes on that Baron. They will know it at least, and now everybody is here. This is looking like possibly a late game fight that could be determining what this game turns into.
Yeah, this is at this stage of the game at 30 minutes in, these death timers are very, very long. If you win this fight, not only are you probably going to get Baron, you're probably going to get a huge win under your belt as well, right? This is going to be looking very, very strong here for anyone who wins this fight, of course. And now the Baron has been started up by Mythic here. They've pulled the trigger. Let's see how the answer is.
Yeah, we do see TP's coming in. Solitaire first. He's mega.
Yeah, he does have that Mega Gnar. That's going to be the Emperor's Divide, giving them just a little bit more space here. Knocking them away, but that's going to be Senna to fall first. Ashen Chevalier is going to be the second. 12 IQ is in some trouble here, trying to survive as long as they can, deal as much damage, but they can't survive any longer. That's going to be a double kill for the Diana. And now Yasuo was not able to get a clean intro into that fight. And now that is a clean pickup for Mythic here. What a big W.
That teleport split up the fight entirely. Gnar forced the Azir back. Yasuo had to walk the other way. Never found a real strong opportunity to go in that didn't involve fighting the entire team at the same time. And the Senna fell immediately. That was about as perfect a fight as you could ask for Mythic Fallen, as they do take the Baron now. Mockingbird shoved out, flashed over the wall, couldn't fight worth a damn in that. And now, Shifting Sands once again have to hold off another Baron push, and it's 2 minutes till a Dragon Soul is going to spawn.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking to be closer and closer to the end of the game here. I think if you're Mythic, you just let them have it. If they're gonna go right for the Baron, or the Dragon rather, just let them have it. Just let them, like, who cares? Like, this game is probably not gonna last long enough that Soul is going to be a contention point for the end of the game. If they're gonna devote people to the Drake, push the lanes. Like, you have Baron buff, you're so far ahead. They can't kill the Dragon faster than you can take multiple of their turrets, right?
Yeah, so now it's going to be a little bit of holding back once again, just trying to clear out these waves. I'm not really certain. It feels like just a push to the end, as that is the Azir used just to keep this Diana away. Mockingbird having to play so defensively, and look at how little damage is done because this is that tank Diana. The Sunfire completed, the Demonic Embrace, so much health, armor, and magic resist built into this Bruiser.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is also kind of that's a real big moon right there. Is now Pico is in some trouble in the middle of the team, but they're taking barely any damage as Ashen Chevalier shoves anyways back into the wall, but they go golden. Simmerald is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Azir. Pico now diving underneath the turret, looking for a little bit more. They're still so healthy. One after another, the red team falls, and now 12 IQ looking to fight Solitaire on the bottom side of the map here, but it's looking just as a participation ribbon at this point, because the rest of the blue team is shoving onto the Nexus turrets. This might just be the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. 12 IQ, not even able to get back, as they are just going to stop that. Solitaire, we're just going to solo queue 12 IQ just before the Nexus falls. Pad the stats, as we do see finally Shifting Sands fall there. A long game for what seemed to be very dominant, but I think it was a very clean and methodical game from Mythic Fallen.
Yeah, it seems like both of these teams stick to pretty even for a very long time before exploding in some mid-game team fights over objectives, right? This Baron has been so crucial to both of these teams, exploding their gold lead into their advantage, and in a lot of cases giving them big leads just off of kills in the team fight as well. As we get into this game 3, I'm going to be looking to see how these teams adapt, if they're going to be prioritizing this Baron, if they're going to be prioritizing these mid-game team fights, because this has been so even for so long for the first 20 or so minutes, and then the gold lead explodes the second anyone gets any Baron.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I want to see maybe one of these teams go for just a super late game comp, because both these teams are playing very slow and trying to pick off small mistakes, and it's almost playing scared to a degree, because I think there are opportunities that you can see the one of these teams can take advantage of. You just got to be able to pull the trigger on it. And that's fine if you want to play slow, but you need to pick around that as well. And I don't think that there was enough in the actual cohesion of the composition for Shifting Sands compared to the lockdown and follow-up that was put together by Mythic Fallen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you still want to throw a curveball comp in that bot lane, like that Senna Yasuo kind of duo right there, I think if you want to go for a much later game comp, I think it's time to pull out the double enchanter. I think it's time for like Tarek Seraphine or Sona Seraphine or Sona Tarek, right? It's time to break out the double enchanter if you want to go really, really late. But that's just my opinion. We'll have to see how they change up their draft and change up the style of their play for game number 3. We'll be right back with that in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the final game of the night. Here we are, Style Esports Season 12, Shifting Sands Gaming versus Mythic Fallen. We've gone and toiled for the longest games we've seen all week, and now here we are at game number 3. These two teams have been dead even for so long in all of their games, fighting and duking it out around neutral objectives to make it their pathway to victory. And now, here we are in the final game. My name is Shinkar. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes. We are in picks and bans of game number 3 of this best of 3 series, and let's see who's going to bring home the crown tonight. Thousand Eyes, are you ready?
I am ready, and we are through a good bit of the bans already. We see the Shen, the Olaf, everything that we have seen throughout the entire night so far. The Talia banned as well once again. We'll see if the Volibear is going to be taken out last by Mythic Fallen to go for more of the same. Interesting to note that after getting beat, Shifting Sands don't really change their bans at all. They don't feel like anything they lost to was worth banning. This time, though, the Diana is taken away, which means the Volibear will get picked up immediately, as that has been banned by Mythic Fallen after game 1. So it is just a lose-lose situation. Mythic Fallen have to give one, and they're going to give away the Volibear.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mythic Fallen has been valuing this Diana pretty highly throughout the entire series. I think that is the only ban besides Viego that has stayed relatively consistent here, but they're going to answer the Volibear 100% with the Janna here.
Yeah, so that is a pretty nice pickup as well. The Janna will be able to heal very well against the Volibear. Remember, a lot of times with stuns, Volibear's Q allows him to reactivate it. If he was mid Q and he gets crowd controlled, he can activate it again at no cost. But if you're getting pushed away, it doesn't really matter that much. You're already too far to make up that distance, and with the Janna Ezreal, it's going to be really hard to gank that lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, this bot lane from Mythic Fallen here was very, very good. And if Shifting Sands is going to kind of forfeit, in quotes, the bot lane and just kind of concede and just be like, hey, you know, we might fight you early, but we're ultimately looking to get to that mid game and then start scaling. And then, you know, this is a perfect lane to do so. You know, Janna doesn't have to be super aggressive, right? Janna can just sit back and just shield Ezreal whenever he takes a little bit of damage here. And especially against a Senna Tahm Kench with historically very, very late game focused.
Absolutely, as I am glad to see it. I've wanted to see it with the Senna. I feel like it's really good, and if you're gonna take something there, obviously I understand why it was picked the Senna Yasuo last game. This time around, though, Shifting Sands making sure they don't have to deal with that Senna does mean that they are going to be, you know, scaling up really well into this game. They've just got to be able to get enough of that time to be able to do so. Hecarim does want to keep the pace of the game pretty swift.
Yeah, I mean, literally and figuratively, he's a big horseman. It goes very fast. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is that now Mythic Fallen have kind of pushed themselves, maybe have pigeonholed themselves a little bit, because Hecarim is a champion that does not play well from behind. You know, Mythic Fallen before in their previous composition was a little bit more flexible. If they had fallen behind, they still had a lot of CC, they still had a lot of tools in their pocket that could, if they delayed the game a little bit longer, could be able to turn it around. But now with Hecarim and even Darius, you know, we have a situation where, you know, the team is more of saying like, hey, we're looking to get a lead early. We're looking to bully you in this top half of the map. Now we'll see how Shifting Sands answers and how Mythic Fallen is going, what Mythic Fallen is going to do for this last pick here.
Absolutely. I'd like the set pick into the Darius does give a nice just ability to push away that Darius ult. You just take a bunch of damage, hit that W, Darius ult doesn't really kill, and then you completely ruin his ability to reset in a fight. Rumble coming through as well. This one I'm not as big a fan of, and the reason for that is there is not any real setup for this Rumble. It is a blind pick Rumble as well in the mid lane, which means you can get up against something that has a lot of range, can be very difficult to fight against. Syndra is one of those champions, and now the fact that you have no setup means that this Rumble has to place all equalizers perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it seems like the Rumble itself might just be the setup, right? Just forcing Mythic Fallen to not be able to retreat in some cases, you know, forcing Mythic to maybe just, you know, just have a tougher time navigating tight corridors, right? Like this Rumble himself might be the setup, which I agree with you. Rumble has to be pretty perfect. If Rumble is being your setup, which, you know, isn't bad per se, right? But it's just not ideal. right? Rumble likes having people already CC'd for him to lay his ultimate on top of already. Now, Shifting Sands can kind of do that, right? Tom Kench and Volibear can set up
They're
Rumble to access.
technically,
Technically, they
yeah.
can. It's just not.
Realistically, no.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like technically, like a plane could crash because there is an ant inside of the engine that blows everything up, but it's not very likely to happen, and everything has to happen perfectly around it for that to occur. So Shifting Sand's gonna have to play perfectly. Now, what I think they do really well is have enough of a front line for this Senna to have the time to do damage, right? Like you said, the Rumble Ultimate can be used to provide space, and you have Hecarim, you have Darius. These are two champions that can't do anything unless they can close that gap. Set E, Rumble ult with the E, Tom Kench with the ultimate to protect Senna, Volibear with that Q. There's a lot of things that can stop Hecarim from getting into that backline. Warding flanks becomes crucial here.
Yeah, it's going to be really important to see this, right? Because even I think both teams can take very good advantage of these tight corridors, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how both teams are going to try to weasel both teams into taking these kind of like small corridor and engagements and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see because you're right. Like both of these teams very good in these small corridors. Volibear, Tom Kench will be able to maximize the amount of people stuck in his knockup. You know, Rumble is very good in these tight corridors with his ultimate. Set can very easily get good face breakers within tight corridors as well. And Syndra, not to mention Scatter the Weak, is very good in tight corridors. Darius is good at abusing tight corridors, and not to mention Janna and Hecarim as well. So lots of good things for those types of positional matchups. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear that, you know, the game is going to come down a lot to vision and being able to play around the information you have over your opponent, right? If both teams get the information over, if one team is able to get information over their opponent, they'll be able to utilize it to the best of their ability, right? Obviously. But with both these teams being so equal and playing so well, even the smallest amount of information can be the tipping point in some of these team fights.
Yeah, so I think that's really going to be the biggest thing. Syndra plus Hecarim is such good mid lane ganking potential, and there's so much damage built into that. It's just like, how do you fight against that as Rumble? You really kind of just can't walk up to the wave. That's scary because that means that Syndra gets first push and gets to walk around the map before the Rumble could follow. And that's really hard to do. Now you have Volibear, who's going to have to be careful about where he moves. Could be warded, could be in the jungle. Don't really know. It's going to have to be a nice start from Shifting Sands in the mid lane at the very least. Top lane, there's ability to come back. In bot lane, you're looking to scale on both ends of that map. So it's not a big deal either way, but Volibear and Hecarim, I think, are going to push the pace of this game really hard wherever they feel they can do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how how both teams try to dictate the pace of the game, just because they've been playing so slow these past couple of games. Like we haven't seen like any sort of big team fights until about 20 minutes in. Even though in the game number 1 we saw a decent chunk of ganks in the bot lane relatively early on in comparison to some of the other games, but you know, this is still going to be a game that, you know, to me is looking like Mythic it wants to end this game earlier, right? They've taken they've taken where their win condition is and just moved it closer to the beginning of the game with the Syndra, with the Darius, with the Hecarim, right? So I want to see like how we're going to be controlling the early stages of this game, how we're going to be controlling the laning phase, and how that's going to translate into these 20-minute, hey, we're going for Baron right now.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And I think right now, just trying to see, you know, how likely is it Shifting Sands can hold off the mid-game onslaught that Mythic Fallen have put together. I'm worried about it. I think Mythic Fallen do, though, have to keep their foot down. They have to keep pressure on. If they let up and they give time for the Tom Kench Senna, if they give time for Rumble to get into a good spot for a good equalizer, You're allowing Shifting Sands to get in. These are champions that Mythic Fallen have drafted that can just set things up on their own and have the rest of the team follow up on it. Even if you don't have a full team, they can work well 2v3, 3v3, and those kinds of situations. I want to see Mythic Fallen lean into that rather than just go, well, okay, objective fight time, let's go.
Yep. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 3 of Shifting Sands Gaming versus Mythic Fallen. Now, this has been a very, very good matchup. You don't want to miss this last thrilling game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. My lords, my ladies, and those who doth lie betwixt, welcome back to Season 12 of Style Esports. Here we are in game number 3 of Shifting Sands Gaming up
Get me
against
out, guys.
Mythic
I'm begging you.
Esports Fallen. We have a 5-point line of scrimmage across the river in this game number 3 in the best of 3 series. My name, of course. Behold the Bard of Avon, Shinkari, joined by 1,000 Eyes, here to bring you the final game of the evening.
Holy God.
Thousand Eyes, are you ready to present this wonderful gaming experience to these wonderful people in the Twitch chat?
Can we shift forward like a couple hundred years, please? Because I can't take you seriously like this. I can't do it. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So during all that, the game just started. God. Okay. So game started. Both jugglers starting on the red buff. I can't like analyze when I also have to think about like Hamlet going on in the background. We're gonna move over. Junglers are going to be going topside for the Volibear, maybe trying to get this Darius in a little bit of a rough spot, because if Darius does fall behind, he will really struggle into the late game. Set, on the other hand, can team fight really well, so he should be fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's looking like a pretty good matchup for 12 IQ in the top lane. They're also playing a pretty aggressive lane as well, which is what we've seen them play pretty well on as well. And both these junglers doing an opposite start here. Volibear is going to be pathing up towards this top lane here. We might see a gank onto the Darius, but I doubt it. Ooh, but maybe we will see a gank onto this set here. 12 IQ is in some trouble. Solitaire has kept them in here. Here comes ZPico in from the side, but it's going to bash them away from the Darius, forcing them to flash forward. 12 IQ does not have the Haymaker, and this is the quickest first blood we've seen in the whole series.
And that's when we needed to see it too, because the Hecarim Volibear, they want to get going early. Hecarim especially getting that ghost off cooldown immediately and using it. Here comes Ashen.
Yeah, Ashen Chevalier. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's okay, buddy. No one saw it. Don't worry about it. You'll get him next time.
I'm pretty sure that she is still dead regardless.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. Anyways, is taking not exactly the greatest path here. Oh, Facebreaker with Gromp. Okay, not going to be able to get it here. As anyways, still in some trouble here. There's the stun from Volibear. There's the Haymaker. Mockingbird is going to be the one picking up the kill this time. As in the bot lane, Stotty looking for Asianado here. Being taken pretty low. The snare will land. Looking for the flash over the wall. Might be able to grab it. There it is. Over the wall. They're perfectly safe.
So a very action-packed start here compared to previously. It's still 1-1 though. That Syndra did take a little bit more time to die, so there was farm missed in the process. So a little bit better in terms of what is gained for the side of Mythic, as they do pull out a little ahead of the goal, but it is just minimal at best. Right now, though, we do see the early kill on that Hecarim, giving enough money for the Sheen. Now Hecarim ganks are so very scary.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Hecarim who is ahead is a very, very scary horsey. So once again, this is Hecarim plays very, very well from being ahead, and we mentioned this before, and now look at that, they're ahead. And the problem is they need to keep up this pace, right? They need to constantly be ganking now and just do really quick clears of just one side of the jungle, showing up in a lane, and then going to the other half of the jungle.
Yeah, we'll just be a little bit slowing down just for now as teams do try and clear things out. But man, I'm glad to see a little bit of extra aggression in the early game. Obviously, I think bot lane, both these junglers would like to avoid, because really, what do you do? This is it's a Tahm Kench and a Senna versus an Ezreal and a Janna. There's nothing happening there for about 20 minutes or so. They're just going to be scaling.
Yeah, it's at times like this where you're just like, you know what? Let's do what Senna's doing. Let's pack a bowl or two, you know, just for this bot lane, because, you know, Senna Tahm Kench might have like a little bit of action. Guys. Yeah, rice bowls. Yeah, we're gonna make sure you wash your rice first.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you wash your rice, or that guy on TikTok will yell at you. But yeah, it's There's a guy on TikTok that yells at people for not washing their rice whenever he sees video of them not washing their rice.
Do you think it's just when he sees video, or do you think like he just knows how to find people that don't wash the rice?
he's just the wash ricing goblin. He's like in your vents, in your kitchen. He's just hovering over he's like hovering over like a Spider-Man grab onto the corner of the wall. He's just like, aha, you have not washed your rice. Take that off the burner, you fool.
Dragon was taken, by the way.
Yeah, Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, a nice start is here's. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing that's gonna happen in this lane. Like, we get excited. We're like, oh, they're jumping forward. And it's like, and the other team's just gonna jump backwards, and we are gonna not accomplish anything.
Yeah. As my good friend likes to say, hawk shoe, hawk shoe, hawk shoe, hawk shoe. Me.
Okay. Pull it back just a little bit there. It's a little bit much in my ears. Goodness. Okay. But, I mean, now we do take a just quick look at the farm. The biggest thing is that top lane lead. Because the set died so very quickly, the set has fallen behind. Darius has gotten a really solid lead, and we know what Darius can do with the lead against other melees. Nobody can walk up into that rest of the fight. It's just so... He's going to kill you if you walk up at all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, it's just a real tough spot to be in. What if just even at this stage, if the prospect of walking up to someone is death, then that's not exactly ideal to say the least. As Mockingbird going to be some trouble here. That's going to be the Onslaught of Shadows. Real good equalizer, going to give them a little bit of space. Maybe Mockingbird might be able to live.
Oh
this.
No, he's live.
Ooh,
oh my goodness.
Okay, going to be able to come out on top here. Spent the ultimate in the flash, but ultimately, if you don't go down here to the Hecarim, I think that's a very good job regardless.
Absolutely. Ghost was burned by Pico as well, so it was a really hard push for that engage. Really good equalizer, really good E afterwards to get the extra slow to make sure that Hecarim couldn't get any more Qs or autos or anything. Anyways, did hit the Q at the end of that, but did not do enough damage just yet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was as good as an equalizer as you could get, and really good timing on it being used as well. It like came down almost exactly before Onslaught of Shadows came down. So real good job by Mockingbird there. We'll have to see if this kind of continues here, but Mockingbird for something here. Ashen Chevalier, his level 6 anyways is pretty low. There's going to turn off the turret, but immediately forcing the flash away from anyways. I think you take that every day of the week.
Yeah, gonna take away the flash, and the thing that's kind of a little unfortunate there is the Rumble would love to have the flash for aggressive plays. Syndra, on the other hand, it is pretty much just a defensive tool. Does not have the TP, so will miss a wave off of this, and now Rumble gonna have a nice chance to not only have a wave get missed, but also get an extra plate off of that tower, some extra gold to even get further ahead here, as this Rumble gonna hit a nice mid-game power spike here.
Yeah, Rumble here picking up a couple good items. I have to say, Hextech Alternator, that item's broken. That item is ridiculous. I have to say.
Yeah, it is.
It's really good.
It's really good.
I feel like people don't talk about how good that item is. It's insane that it just gives you. Yeah, you just deal more damage on top of us giving you ability power.
Yeah. Well, it's really good, especially just because it's not as long a cooldown as I think people really think it is. And for burst champs, it is really good. Z-Pico not getting the charge here. Ashen's here.
Yeah, that's going to be a good equalizer. Going to give them a little bit more space here. That's going to be Z-Pico backing away. Does not have that Onslaughts of Shadows anymore. So Mockingbird's out of there.
Mockingbird did get out of there. It looked rough, but Ashen Chevalier being there and getting the Hecarim pushed back, basically just bodyguarding him as he walked back over to his side of the map, was really good. Will be a bit of farm to miss, but Ashen is there to catch it, so it is not gone entirely to waste. But
do you think Z-Pico was trying to give the kill over to anyways?
No, I just don't think they had the damage.
Right. Okay.
I think they went in on it, and then Ashen Chevalier showed up. There was an unclear call of, hey, do we disengage from this? Are we going hard all in on this? Like, what are we doing? And then, unfortunately, Mockingbird just was able to get away. The slight slight time of miscommunication gave the opportunity.
Okay. Because I was mostly thinking that because, like, Ashen Chevalier or Z-Pico pretty quickly just got off the kill here and started, like, kiting in it and started moving in kind of like an opposite direction, almost moved through Ashen Chevalier in order to get closer towards that red buff kind of area. Which was a little interesting to see that kind of pathing in that kind of fight, but you know, I do like this right here. Blue team immediately opting Rift Herald as now they're looking for Z-Pico. Half HP here, does have that. It was getting chewed up, spat back out. Z-Pico taking incredibly low here, going to smite the Drake for just a little bit more HP. Stoddy looking for a little bit more room here. Asinito just taking really low. Mockingbird is looking for that last bit of damage, but that shield is so good. The Equalizer comes down, but not in exactly a good spot. Not even to take down the Janna here as it turns into a 1-for-1. The Dragon is still available, and now the red team is looking to collapse. These blue HP bars are not looking particularly healthy, and Solitaire is here. That's going to be a showstopper, bringing Tori back into the back of the team here. Solitaire now has to get here. That's a good stun knock up onto the Darius as well. Haymaker is going to be able to find the kill as well. They grab the Drake, they grab 2 kills, and all they had to lose was Rumble. This is a pretty big pickup. They're now 1.5k gold in the lead.
Yeah, Rumble just chased everybody down and back out of that fight. And then when they said, all right, cool, we got the Rumble, let's walk back up and try and contest this Dragon since they're down a person. Then came 12IQ with the set ultimate ready to go, grabbed the grabbed Z-Pico, threw him into the rest of the team. And that was basically the last opportunity that there would have been to try and get this Dragon away from Shifting Sands. They do come out ahead on that. 2 dragons, up a kill. This is looking really good for Shifting Sands.
Yeah, for sure. As do want to take a look at the gold as it's standing right here. We're looking at about 2.3 thousand gold in the lead for Shifting Sands right here, and a lot of this gold is onto this Rumble right here. 4.7k gold with that 2 kills right there, and even up a little bit of CS over the Syndra here. It's looking pretty good for them, especially with that Hextech rocket belt that they've just picked up. Interesting choice. I mean, I feel like Night Harvester has been the item for Rumble for like a little while.
So Night Harvester has just not been a good item for a long time is the problem. Okay. So yeah. It is usually the Hextech rocket belt. It's the same thing you see with like Fiddlesticks and things like that. Night Harvester feels really good, but as an item just is also fairly weak at the moment. So you want that extra mobility to get in on people and just dive in and be just an obscene amount of damage in somebody's face with that Flame Spitter. That is what Rocket Belt will give you. And now already Statty is starting to get pretty tanky here.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you just kind of are able to get this really, really early Frostfire Gauntlet. Even though there's 0-0-2, Tahm Kench doesn't really need to get ahead in order to get big, right? Oh, wait, bot lane. Okay, wait, we got to fight in the top lane as well. 12IQ is going to be able to get that Phase Breaker. Here comes Ashen Chevalier, but this is a really bad time to fight. Conqueror has just procced, and now there's a teleport coming in from Sinja as well. There's going to nullify this fight as in the bottom lane. Ultimates were spent, and this first turret the second turret of the game is going to get picked up in this bottom half of the map.
Yeah, so the pressure that has been gained by Shifting Sands is being used well here. As you can see them getting that second tower now, the Tahm Kench Senna. They can rotate. 12IQ can even leave now, go down to that bot side. And now the question is, what do we see from Shifting Sands? Because they've opened up the map a bit. They've got control. They've got dragon stacking going. They've got to be able to get over and continue that push, that pressure in order to make sure that this does not turn into a lead that is thrown away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing for me is that Ashen Chevalier has been so good about pressuring these neutral objectives that now that they have so much space in this bottom lane here, and now that they're probably going to have some attention brought down there, it now gives them the availability to do exactly this, right? We have Alpaca Bowler 2 and Statty swapping lanes, moving up to this top half of the map so that they can help with Shelly, or who has just spawned right here. This is going to give Ashen Chevalier another great time to push in some of these turrets here. And take a look, Mockingbird, you know, this is a good lane for them. They can play they can push in really hard into the Ezreal, who doesn't have good wave clear, and can force this Janna away from the Ezreal as well. As now, Z-Pico stunned up, looking for Alpaca Bull or two, and Asinito's the only one nearby that's able to damage them. Now they're going to have to kite back. That's a great equalizer coming through. Now they're forced to stay on this half of the river right here. Z-Pico taking incredibly low. Alpaca Bull or two is going to be the first one picking up the kill. That's going to be Monsoon, interrupted by Tom Kent. They're looking for the last bit of damage onto Janna as Darius falls. Janna's going to be the next one to go, as anyways is the only member left of the red team in this fight still alive. They still have no HP. They're looking to turn this around, but they're going to flash forward. Not going to be able to give them the time to pick up the last bit of damage, and that's a 4-for-0. And now they have Rift Herald as well. 16.5 minutes into this game. This is already going so quick for Shifting Sands.
It looked like a good engage at the start of that, but because they took so long, there was enough time for Shifting Sands to get ready, get prepared for that fight. They didn't pull the trigger immediately. There was a little bit of dance back and forth. And then when they went in, then the equalizer came in, the rumble came in and was able to protect the rest of that team, give them the time to just focus down one person, turn the tides in their favor, and then continue on as the Syndra and friends were back on the other side of the equalizer. A really nicely played fight in what was a really scary situation for Shifting Sands.
Yeah, and now this is a really good time for them to grab this Drake as well. They put Shelly up into the top lane, so now all of the outer turrets for the red team are down, and this is the first Ocean Drake that is very quickly going over to Shifting Sands Gaming here, continuing their dragon stacking.
Yeah, Soul Point now at 17.5 minutes. Very quick. So we see Shifting Sands keeping the pace up. That's what you want to do with the Rumble, and Rumble can absolutely facilitate that so very well. Now the question becomes, what does Mythic do in response here? Because they're still trying to scale up. The Ezreal does not have that Manamune completed yet, and it'll be a bit before he can buy that. We're still waiting on the Mythic. I'm pretty sure that Mythic will be done for the Syndra there pretty shortly. And now you see Darius has kind of lost his lead a bit. I mean, like, he's still, I guess, in the lead, but it doesn't matter as much because laning phase is done, and Darius in fights becomes an ult machine. He needs to be able to just pick up a kill with an ult and turn that into something if he wants to be anything more than just a front line.
Right. I mean, at this point, like, I think Darius has exactly the build he wants. And after this, you can kind of do whatever. As Equalizer comes down, I think they're looking for the fight here. That's going to be the Hextech Rocket Belt used, but you know they're not going to be able to go in after that here. So they're just going to take the ultimate there and just walk away because this Equalizer does not have a very long cooldown at this stage. It's just a little bit longer than a minute. Like, I feel like I like this action from Mockingbird here. Just kind of, hey, I'm about to reset. Let me see if we can do anything in the mid lane. Throwing down the ultimate.
Exactly. No, I love the looks. I love the fact that they're looking for these engages and saying, you know what, okay, it didn't work, whatever. We know that we are the ones in control of this game, and we can be the ones to just hold back if it doesn't work. If we don't get the kill, we don't let them engage. They can't really realistically engage because it's all about Hecarim right now. We just wait for the ultimate cooldown to come back up, and then we go for another fight later on.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at this Senna stacks really quick. 85 is the amount that she has. So she needs about 15 before the next big break point here. And she's been doing a pretty good job of keeping this, keeping the Souls game up as much as possible. So 12 IQ fighting Solitaire in the top lane. Here comes Ashley Chevalier. They're looking for it. That's going to be the showstopper, bringing them just a little bit too far forward, though. They got the stun. They got the damage. He's taking incredibly low. The Hatemaker is not going to land. And now, anyways, is in this top lane as well. Going to have to use that ultimate to get away. Zpico still looking for a little bit more, but they're not going to be able to follow through because that bot lane is threatening to come up. So they're going to have to back away here, and Darius is going to have to back as well. Yeah, I don't think they're going to have the HP bars for this, but I think they want to start Baron.
I don't think they do. I really hope they don't. Aesanita, no.
Oh yeah, that's not a good position to be in. They're gonna look for the blast cone, but not gonna be able to grab it this time. The support is done. Darius is in the bot lane. They're doing Baron.
Yeah, no, now they do. I mean, you get a kill. Obviously, you want to go for it from that point. The top lane gank was a little bit ill-advised, but they did get out of it, luckily, thanks to the fact that Ashen Chevalier could just be not be invulnerable, but be unstoppable in order to get over there. As the Baron gets picked up, Zpico, no way to get into that pit, no real risk of a steal coming through.
Yeah, and now we've seen this in every single game. This is now their Shifting Sands' opportunity to break open this game even more. Both teams have been doing such a good job of controlling the side waves so far, and now with this Baron buff, it's going to be even harder to stop them, especially since a lot of their wave clear in the Syndra uses magic damage.
Yeah, it becomes so much more difficult. And even the Ezreal, if you're ulting as Ezreal to try and clear a wave, it's also magic damage. So
yeah,
very
now
difficult.
Solitaire,
Yeah,
in some trouble, chewed up by the big catfish, gonna be spat out one more time. The flamethrower and the tongue is gonna be the one picking up the kill down in the bottom lane. As this is going to be Shifting Sands' game and continuing to flex their muscles, continuing to put pressure on this team.
Complete control from Shifting Sands so far, as they have just completely put this Darius down. His early game prowess is now done. Asanito, nope. Goodbye, friend.
No, yeah, this Janna is already taking so much damage. I'm going to flash forward, but Syndra is going to do a great job of keeping them away from their team. So Janna's going to be able to get out A-OK, but in 20 seconds, this dragon is going to spawn, and that's going to be Dragon Soul.
And it's just gonna go over. Like there's no contestation that could really occur. It's unfortunate, but really at the state of the game, being down about 7,000 gold at this point, there's no world in which you take a 5v5 fight. You're going to get stat checked every bit of the way.
Yeah, for sure is now. Yeah, this is the time. 4th Ocean Drake means that they're gonna get an Ocean Soul, which means this is now going to be a much harder team to fight in long sieges, right? They're just going to be able to get back out of combat, heal up, and then re-enter with a lot more HP. Take a look at Alpaca Bowler 2 right now. Even now they're healing up so much, and they don't really have a whole lot of defensive items in their pocket. They're looking for the turret dive.
And they're gonna get it.
Great interrupt here. They're going over. I did a color commentator pass over, but now here comes Cimarrold, who's taken insanely low. They're gonna grab it as well. An objective bounty is claimed by Darius in the top lane, but they're losing so much in response.
Yeah, it's gonna get rougher and rougher. They can't even stay under their own towers anymore, as the scaling has hit the mid-game power spike of this set. Volibear Rumble has opened so many opportunities, and when it already was starting to go a little rough, and then you add in just how strong these champions are at that 1-2 item spike, it's so difficult. Goodbye, Solitaire.
No. Okay, yeah. Solitaire's in a bit of trouble here. Got nowhere to go. Trying to turn this into a 1-for-1 as best they can, but with the Senna ultimate coming across as well, it's just going to seal the deal. Darius not having a good time in this game. 0-4-1 at this stage, 24 minutes in, and we're looking at nearly a 9,000 gold difference between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, when you're at the point that Senna's just ulting for the assist across map, it's pretty much, you feel pretty good about your spot in the game. It's kind of just, well, are we gonna see Shifting Sands mess up? Are we going to see them make a mistake or not? Because that's really the only way that Mythic are going to be able to get back into this game. There's the possibility of them diving too deep, Rumble getting caught. Syndra is very good at getting picks, but the problem is everybody that she's going to have access to is going to be very tanky. Senna is never really going to be in a range at this point of the game.
Yeah, I mean, good news for Mythic here is that Cimarrold has finished their Mana Mune here, so that's a really big power spike for the Ezreal here. So they'll be able to have more of a fighting chance here, but they're just so big. Look at how much armor and HP Tahm Kench has right now, and how much space they're able to make by just them being there. They even have to have 5 people answer just a 3-man push from Shifting Sands here. That's going to be the engage. Good eat by Stati here. Going to spit out Alpaca Bowler 2 as now Z-Pico looking for a little bit more, but they've already taken so much damage from Jest Mockingbird, as now Solitaire is looking for Alpaca Bowler 2. Actually really close to finding it, but they're able to find the shutdown here. They're still able to keep this game alive. 1 kill, 2 kills, shutdown for Darius. That's a whole lot of gold into his pocket, but take a look at the map. Take a look at where Set is right now. They're fighting in the top lane, but Set is grabbing the inhibitor.
Yeah, that's although that we're going to see from SSG is they do lose out on that fight, not in a position to fight it. And yeah, like you said, the Tom Kench just not able to protect that Senna enough. A nice turnaround there, but ultimately still, it's still 8,000 gold that you need to come back from. That is one step between an entire nation that needs to be crossed by Mythic, as they are going to be sitting here waiting for another objective. Baron going to be spawning soon, and now ZPico in trouble.
Yeah, gonna get knocked into the air here. Solitaire's gonna pull them in. ZPico kind of re-engages here with that empowered auto attack, but taken incredibly low. The Haymaker's gonna be the one picking up the kill here. Now here comes the flamethrower here from Mockingbird. The equalizer comes, does not come down just quite yet. Or it did come down, I just didn't see it. Okay, gonna be that 2-0 for Shifting Sands here is now. They have a pretty big advantage. They're gonna make their way over to Baron.
I mean, why wouldn't you at this point? The jungler's dead. The top lane is dead. They don't have teleports to get into that Baron pit. Why would you not go for the Baron? You take it, not the fastest, but you definitely will take it decently here. And there's no real risk of taking too much damage from it, as 12 IQ keeps the pressure on that mid lane, does not give any chance for Mythic to walk up.
Yeah, right now 12 IQ might actually be in some trouble here. That's going to be the Haymaker shield coming up, but they've already taken so much damage from the Ezreal and the Syndra, and now that's the re-engage here. Ashen Chevalier here now, finally here to be able to body block. Mockingbird almost has that ultimate back up. Are they going to team fight here, or are they just looking to end the game?
I think they're just going to be pushing forward here, trying to look to end the game. Mythic, they have to take a fight, really, if they want to keep going here, but you don't want to take a fight at the same time.
Yeah, it's so close. This turret is just melting, though. You can't just concede it at this point. That's a huge equalizer in the back row there, but it doesn't land onto anyone for too long, so they're going to be able to survive just a little bit longer, as now the inhibitor turret, mid inhibitor turret goes down. The mid inhibitor might follow as well.
Yeah, they're going to just keep pushing forward, get another inhibitor down, and I think it might just be a back after this. We'll see as they are. Yeah, they're just going to back away. Get the Senna to get everybody out as the dragon is spawning in about 20 seconds. Elder Dragon might be the final nail in the coffin here.
Yeah, uh-oh.
Oh my god. Nope.
Oh, yeah, okay. That might have been thrown out a little too soon there. I don't think they're looking to back. I think they're just banking on the Ocean Soul to heal them up, and then they go and fight for the Elder.
There was a blue trinket that they put down. That's why they ended up going early. So they did get spotted by a nice little catch to make sure that Mythic could walk forward now, but I don't think Solitaire really wants this one.
Yeah, 12 IQ taken pretty low here, but they're able to heal up a heck of a lot, as Darius is going to be the first casualty in this fight. Rooted up ZPico is now going to be turned around as Tom Kench knocks him into the air. 12 IQ still looking for the Ezreal and the Janna on the back side here, but Syndra, Janna, and Ezreal are gone, and this Elder Drake is going over to Shifting Sands Gaming.
Yeah, with no real risk, as even Shifting Sands picking there, they have the Tom Kenchar. It was not ever at any point going to be in trouble there, because Senna always had that opportunity to get out. They're going to be back, reset, use this Elder Dragon buff to then push into the base, end this game, because they are extremely strong right now at 12,000 gold. This, oh my goodness. I'm almost wondering here if there just needed to be, like, to me, I don't think there is a realistic game where you should be at 12,000 gold above and not really just ending the game.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to be happening right here is 12 IQ. That's going to be the equalizer coming across here. Solitaire looking to at least take one Elder Drake buff off the map here, but that's going to be the surrender vote. 4 votes to none. That's
okay.
That's going to be the big victory for Shifting Sands Gaming here, as it looks like Mythic just can't find that W that they were looking for.
Yeah, they do just end up giving up. I didn't think they could do that.
Yeah.
Not familiar with that.
Yeah, I don't think that is allowed if you're on stream. So, Akko Taco.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, though.
Yeah.
And that will be just it for Shifting Sands to win in the 2-1 victory there. Congrats to them. Condolences to Mythic, though, as they're honestly, it was just whoever got ahead just kind of kept the foot on the throat and did not let up at all.
Yeah. I totally agree. It's just, in this particular game, Shifting Sands Gaming just played completely different than how they have been playing in the past. They saw this Senna, Tom Kench in the bot lane. And maybe Mythics thought that this game was going to go a lot longer, that they weren't going to pop off as soon as they did. But with Rumble and Set, they were able to just be more of a more aggro earlier on in the game. And we were throwing out a bunch of question marks about this Rumble pick, as their
Mhm.
last pick here because we didn't have the setup for it. But really, all it needed to do was just show up to the fight, get ahead, and be threatening. Right. Whenever this equalizer came down, it wasn't like, oh, huge equalizer. It's like game
Yeah.
changing the game, but a lot of the times it's just like, oh, now we're forced to stay on this half of the team fight because if we walk that way, we're going to be stuck in a massive damage equalizer.
Well, and I think credit is needs to be given to Ashen Chevalier for getting that Rumble to that point because there were
Hmm.
multiple times where Mockingbird needed that escort, needed that ability to get out of dodge in a really bad situation, and Ashen Chevalier was always there to help, was there to set up things, give Mockingbird the opportunity to become a threat in this game, and I think Ashen Chevalier did a great job with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's safe to say that like Ashen Chevalier to me seems like an MVP of a lot of these games for Shifting Sands. Has been a
Mhm.
very good playmaker. Has been pretty steady for this team as well. Very good job altogether. As this is a really good team. Like both these teams are very good. I feel like even if you're Mythic Fallen, like that last game, let's just pretend it doesn't exist. If we take a look at the other two games, even in game one where you lost, like that was still a very good game, very close for a very long time.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely uh both teams have had their high points and definitely looking to continue on as we are starting to get a little bit close to playoffs. Teams wanting to go
Yeah.
into that hot and ready as the time will go through.
Yeah, well, your team wants to be like Caesar's Pizza as we get into these last games
Really the pizza
before
you want to
playoffs.
aim for?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're trying to be hot and ready,
Like,
$5. I don't know
yeah,
what to tell you.
we want to be the best pizza we can possibly be. So we're going to go for the $5 pizza.
Look, I
But
don't know what to tell you. Caesar's their thing is hot and ready. It doesn't need to be Little Caesars. Their tagline isn't "We're the best pizza ever." Their thing is $5 hot and ready.
it's a really good
Okay, I
point.
don't know what to tell you.
I know, but if you're $5 hot and ready going into playoffs, you're gonna get beat by the pizza that's better. That's
Are
my point.
you? I don't know. You're hot and ready to go. Regardless, we're going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to the rambles of two crazy people as we close out the night. From the entire live broadcast crew here at Style Esports, myself, to Styles and Eyes, our co-caster. Thank you, Styles and Eyes, my co-caster, for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button. It really helps us out, and you get to be notified every single time that we go live to watch more bangers like you watched this evening. And we've got League of Legends action for y'all to watch nearly every single day. So you don't want to miss these awesome games. Make sure to press that follow button. If you're feeling generous as well, press that subscribe button. It's going to help us out keeping the lights on here at Style Esports and continue to giving you hot and ready casting commentary for all of these games. But from everyone here at Style Esports, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.